Hey guys, welcome to Gaming and Shaming. My name's Matt. I'm here with my good friend Aaron, and here we are doing a game reviewing podcast. Huh? What?
We talked about this.
What?
You were going to do the intro after I did the intro.
No. I was going to do the intro first because I'm more important.
Does it make sense that actually checks out? Is my ego okay?
I think we which of our sub 20 subscriber count is higher?
I've got to 26.
26?
Yes.
Okay, you've definitely got me beat then.
Twitch.tv/BlazerKage.
Twitch.tv/no half stars.
No, don't go to his. He's got 25 subscribers. He's a fucking loser.
I do great streams. I take all my clothes off and pose to the camera.
The streams on the website with that little jingle at the start of every video, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to be the world's greatest cowboy streamer. Just you wait.
Yeah, let's
dressing up all sexy for the boys online.
Ram Ranch,
baby. Ram Ranch really rocks. This is Gaming and Shaming, a podcast where we review a video game every
we try to. This was supposed to happen 2 months ago. This was delayed substantially. Next month will not be. Next month we've got a much better game that we chose from.
Yeah, I really wanted to record a month and a half ago when I remembered the game.
Yeah, not going to lie, that was a big problem as well.
Yeah.
But if we recorded a month and a half ago, I would have had about 20 minutes worth of things to say.
Yes.
And that was based on 20 minutes worth of me recapping everything I did in that game as a child.
As a child?
When the character was a child. Spoilers.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Not when I was a child. This game didn't come out until 2017?
Yes.
Yeah.
2017.
I did my research.
Yeah, you did. I didn't do any.
Fantastic. We're set to go.
Yep.
Anyway.
It's okay. I did the research in my own brain. It's okay. It's where all the good facts come from. I don't need any others.
There's going to be some severe edits to this, but the main idea of the podcast that we had was that we'd rotate choices of the game month to month. But rather than just being me... Oh, by the way, my name's Aaron. How you doing? Then Matt. Then me. That's Matt. Then back and forth. We also introduced a third element. We have friends, and they're not very good people, frankly. So they made a list of games that they knew would either make one or both of us extremely upset to play through, and the idea was that we'd give them every third month to torture us with. So it would go me, then Matt, then them. And then we decided that they also don't have the ability as functioning adults to decide that between themselves. So one of them, Sarah, thank you very much, came up with a Wheel of Fortune idea, but we can't call it Wheel of Fortune because we don't want to get sued. So
we're going to have to cut this whole clip.
This whole thing. I don't know why I'm talking anymore.
We're going to have to cut this whole explanation. Speaking of gaming and shaming, I think I really want to talk about the title we didn't go with. Because we had a couple different titles we were bashing around. And I was really looking for a title that sort of emphasized my favorite thing about this format, which was how we kind of have, I'm hoping, kind of different perspectives in what sort of games we like and how we enjoy them. So I was looking for some kind of a podcast title where it was like something like the A and the B, you know, the patrician and the pleb.
And as tradition goes, it has to rhyme, right?
Exactly. It has. Yeah. Otherwise, why would you do an A and the B formatted title?
By the way, you need to do an edit, cut literally as I started saying that, and it just zooms in on me looking at the camera and being like, this motherfucker thinks he's better than me. Or something along those lines.
We'll have plenty of time for that through the whole podcast.
But be consistent. Whatever font you choose is the font we use for the entire fucking podcast for a year.
Wingdings.
Hey, make it
2021, the year of Wingdings.
Make it classy. Make it non-sans. It has to be... serif. Sans serif at all times. Because
sans serif Wingdings? That's going to be hard. I'm sure I can whip something together.
I already hate this podcast.
I'm having a ball of a time, let me tell you, folks.
Looking at the lens is a great bit. Really lets you emphasize that you're sick of this person's shit.
Yeah, I'm not even begun to make this guy sick of my shit yet.
Anyway, we left off between, like you were saying, it has to go with the A and the B.
Yeah. So my favorite rejected podcast title that I just need to bring up is The Gamer and the Brainer.
There's a good reason for that. And
the Gamer and the Brainer, guys.
In Australia, this might not be a problem because we're gonna have to mark this podcast.
Okay, so I just want to put in a note here that this is what you're about to say here is your main objection to this name, right?
Yes, I don't give a fuck about the Brainer because it's like, oh, who's the gamer, who's the Brainer? That's fine. I'm happy being the lower IQ piss monkey.
That was the premise from day one. Just so we're aware. Okay.
Yeah, you can see the dynamic pretty early on.
Look, maybe you'll surprise us. Maybe.
Anyway. So in Australia, blowjob's called a gobby. And that's exactly how I'm going to start this.
Name.
And we're now officially on the explicit side of Spotify and every other platform we're going to be on. So, how you doing? But
Oh no,
overseas.
children won't be able to listen to this podcast.
Oh, boo-hoo. As if they could understand our big brains.
Oh, they're not gonna... now it's even pointless to do my children's cartoon reviews in the first half.
Oh, no, Peppa
of
Pig
the
next week, for sure.
podcast. Okay. Peppa Pig's my favourite animal.
But anyway, in America at the very least, blowjobs can be referred to as giving brain. So I really didn't want a podcast that was basically Americans and potentially people in the UK, I'm not familiar with the area, looking at me and like, they play video games and suck dicks. I don't think this is the podcast for me, guys.
I think that's a pretty accurate description of me.
Well, if that's what you want to spend your free time doing, I'm not against it.
That's what I want to spend my work hours doing, baby.
It's not like a go on Netflix.
Get out your dick! Get your fucking dick out! But what I do really want to underline is I did find your objection to Gamer and the Brainer on the grounds of not the fact that it sounds terrible, but on the sounds that it had, in your mind, a reference to Blowjob very funny.
I have a one-track mind.
Considering not a single person that we knew thought that brain meant blowjob. Not a single one.
Our sample size was tiny. We had what, 10 people?
10 people. That's big enough for me.
When it's a 10% increment per person involved, I'm not really comfortable with that. What if we go to the streets for the next episode?
Okay, well, we're going to do an interview and does brain mean gobby? We're going to interview people on the street as a segment. I will do that for the next one.
What if we just went out and said, if I was to say giving brain, what would you think that means?
We're not calling the podcast the Giving Brain podcast, although we totally should. But you know,
that's another podcast. I'm already involved in that one.
And the reason why it's Gamer and the Brainer is that Aaron is the gamer, right? He plays the games, and I'm the brainer. Because I got such a big brain.
I never liked this bit from the start. I'm not on board with any of this, and it makes me very upset how comfortable you are.
This shit's great. I love it.
Speaking of random segues, how's your week been?
My week's been fine. What did I do this week? Nothing.
That's not a bad week. Did you eat? Did you go to work?
I did. I did.
You shit?
I went to work. I shat. My shit's been really nice lately. I've been having some really nice smoothie.
It's my fault. I gave you an opening.
You did.
Yeah, I should know better.
You should understand at this point. If you give me an opening, I'll go for it. I don't. I will. I will. I promise.
Yeah, that was on me.
Yeah.
So what are you playing this week? You were doing...
Yes.
I mean, technically...
Well,
we'll save it for the end.
I've jumped the gun a bit, I'll say.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it now. I won't talk about it now, but I've jumped the gun a bit and I've started playing the next game for the podcast.
Which we'll talk about at the end of the podcast, because we're baiting you and you have to stay. That's how it works.
Streaming a little bit of that. I also did stream Street Fighter V, or rather a single online match of Street Fighter V.
Yeah, and then your stream immediately crashed, right?
Yeah, well, I was dying in the ass because I set all the settings different to do a local recording, and then I couldn't remember what I set.
Yeah, I really wish that there were more what's the word I'm looking for? I wish you could have profiles for OBS programs. I'm sure you probably can, and I just don't know how to use them properly. But yeah, you could switch between more easily than having to screw around too much. Because obviously you can change your overlays and shit, but you can't actually just go in and be like, okay, all my settings want to be on this for this profile, all my settings want to be that on that profile.
It's like, why can't I switch between gamer mode and brainer mode,
I hate that that's going to be the title of the first podcast, Horizon Zero Dawn, the gamer and the brainer.
Look, Gaming and Shaming, I guess, is a fine title. It's just that the shaming, I guess, has to be, me shaming you for not finishing the game.
Don't tell him now! Okay, we'll save this.
We'll get into it.
Anyway, what have I...
We'll get into this later, Aaron.
I've been streaming a lot of Pokemon Nuzlocke this week.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, so still working on the Emerald one.
Sorry, let me finish talking about Street Fighter.
No,
sorry.
Fuck you.
We'll cut this around.
You should feel bad.
I gotta finish this, because there's not much to say. I only streamed one match.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Street Fighter in a while, and it struck me how stressful that game is. When you finish a match in that, or when I finish a ranked match in that, when there's points on the line, the important shit, I feel like I'm shaking. I'm weak in the knees, and I'm like, oh God, what did I just do? And I'm so stressed out after finishing it, and I won that game too.
I find that with any fighting game, and Dragon Ball Fighters, when we were big into that a year ago, and I was playing that 4 hours a day practice mode and all this sort of thing, trying to get touches of death. The problem that I had with it essentially during the game. Not that you can get ranked matches online in DBFZ anymore, because fucking hell, that game is just... Everyone loves it that does play it, but the community's not as large as it needs to be.
Yeah. And it's got that great delay-based netcode, baby.
Yeah, there's a few issues yet to sort out. But the big thing that I have with any fighting game that I play is I go full hard mode. You know the kid when he hasn't told someone something in 5 minutes? It's like that kind of neck posture, and then it seizes up and I get really sore. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I already had a few back issues and now I'm making them 10 times worse. It's time for me to retire at that point.
Fair enough.
So now we'll play like maybe once every few months. But I can't physically put that kind of energy in. Even Rocket League for a while when I was taking that seriously, which why would you ever take Rocket League seriously? Just making a whole audience mad at the same time. Any competitive game I do find myself getting very sweaty. Sweat hard.
Yeah, the sweat is unavoidable. I tell you what though, I do have a lot better of a time with fighting games than games I've played in the past, mainly Overwatch competitively, because I don't have teammates to worry about.
Yeah, it's one of those things growing up. Like, I was one of those kids. I was never the sporty kid, but I was never the indoor kid either. I kind of like do a mix of the two.
Yeah, so looks like we got ourselves a normie over here, guys.
Normie, But I kind of got to the stage where I was like, I'd rather just play sports that I'm playing and I can only have to worry about me. And it sounds so conceited to be like, no, I don't have to worry about other teammates. No, I have to worry about not letting down other teammates.
Yeah.
Because if I make the mistake and it flows through, then I'm the arsehole. But if I'm playing squash and it's just me on the court and I fuck up, who cares? I haven't cost anyone anything. Well, people that take casual sports that seriously have to kind of get their head. Anyway, I've been streaming a lot of Pokemon this week.
Yes, tell me about Pokemon.
I mean, I won't tell you about the core series. Everyone's pretty familiar with that. But just been streaming, like, doing randomized Nuzlocke, where obviously the teams can be just whatever.
I haven't played since Platinum. Did they still put the Pokemon in those tiny little balls?
Oh, yeah, they're
with
still
the red on the top? Okay, cool.
Yeah, they are still squashed in there, and it's barely airtight.
Aha, I control God now. A 10-year-old.
11. If you calculate the amount of hours you probably spent getting that God.
Yeah, good
But no,
point.
yeah, so just been doing those on stream at the moment. And then started Wind Waker, because that's one of the few Zelda games that I haven't played. And enjoying it so far, but it's definitely different. Like, I played Phantom Hourglass on the DS, so that was, the whole gimmick behind Phantom Hourglass was the touch, obviously. And then Spirit Tracks was just bad.
So, fun fact, I've finished 2 Zelda games in my life. Breath of the Wild and Phantom Hourglass.
Really?
Yep.
Have you played other Zelda games?
Yeah, I have. I don't think I'll like them as much as other people.
Ocarina of Time's still fun. It still holds up pretty well, especially if you go for the 3DS remake.
I would very much like to play Majora's Mask, because it seems like it's the Zelda that actually has personality.
It does, but it's also one of those games that I feel should have came with a guide. Because if you try and work that game out back when it came out from the get-go, either you
trial and error?
a lot of trial and error, a huge amount of time. And it's back when you obviously had to keep the console turned off when you weren't using it. You couldn't just, like portable mode, you couldn't just turn it to sleep or whatever. So there was just so many instances where I got frustrated growing up because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have friends that had the game, so I couldn't have someone walk me through it.
That's fair enough.
But then when I went back to the 3DS remake, knew a little bit more, was a bit older as well, so I understood it better, but also the internet. If you really got stuck, you'd be like, how do I do this? And you pass that point.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I guess I wasn't supposed to figure out how to do that myself.
Yeah. It's like, stupid gamers, they'll never get this one. Coders at Nintendo.
Yeah, Gamer Move, it's grinding all the subquests and trying to figure out how to beat them through trial and error. Brainer Move, looking it up online.
I said the Brainer Move.
Yeah, no, you did the Brainer Move.
So I'm the Brainer now.
Yeah, you're the Brainer now.
So the Brainer's a state of mind.
The Brainer is it's more of like a category of traits, you know, and you can fall into anywhere on a spectrum of between Brainer and Gamer.
I've also gone back and been playing through Black Flag again, because pirates.
Ask Creed.
Oh,
irrelevant to our discussion.
Yeah, it is actually.
Ubisoft sandbox game.
Yeah, which is interesting because I kind of lent into the skid with Ask Creed because I played Black Flag like 3 or 4 times through now and I just really enjoy it because obviously the naval combat's really nice. So this
I've heard people really like it.
It is solid, yeah. But if you don't like the series as a whole, then obviously you will sort of...
Oh, nice. I don't need to play it.
Unless I roll it. But yeah. So it's one of those ones where I actually lent into it and I'm like, I'm going to do all the things and collect all the chests and get all the sea shanties and hate myself. And yeah, but I'm kind of leaning into the skid this time, and it's one of my bigger complaints that will come up later. So that is interesting. I guess it's like the Pokemon Nuzlocke. It's a challenge mode.
I see. Leaning into the skid like you're doing a completionist then?
Yeah, but I'm almost doing it because I know the game back and forth. It's almost like a wind down thing. Like I can just do it mindlessly, and now it's just kind of lets me decompress. It's a strange feeling.
No, that's fair.
I feel like it's people like who play Bloodborne so many times that they're just like, and I'm going to do it with a particular weapon this time that sucks because I know the game well enough that it doesn't really matter that it sucks. It just engages me just enough that I'm not bored, but not too much that I'm stressing about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a weird combo.
I got to that point once upon a time, and then I've now lost it.
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm coming back around to it as more time goes.
Double check your audio is still recording.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're talking this whole time and it's just out the window.
Yeah. Oh man, I have a fucking repeat of Kusurge episode 1, attempts 1 and 2.
Anyway, let's kick off. So we played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Now, this was my choice. I chucked this in as our first podcast episode because it's a game that I'd seen my partner play a decent amount of. She loves it, recommends it till the cows come home. So I was like, let's do that.
And you, as a gamer, was quite interested in it, I imagine.
Yes, because who doesn't like the ideas of a world filled with robotic dinosaurs that you hunt, tame, and find out the lore behind, essentially.
Yeah, that is on paper a very cool game.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you chuck that in post-apocalyptic world. It starts making a bit of sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's make this a staple for the podcast.
Okay.
One sentence, first impression, that's going to guide your path throughout the rest of the
Okay,
conversation.
I'm happy we're doing this intro as one sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to go first?
Concise sentence with limited amount of commas and semicolons.
Bitch, I'm gonna make this sentence run on for 20 fucking minutes.
A fantastic game. No, that's wrong already.
We're getting off to a great start with this summary.
A fantastic idea with an okay execution with enough small problems that added up to me wanting to like this game more than I did.
I would describe Horizon Zero Dawn as a game that completed a set of gameplay combat mechanics for about 25% of its game design, and then clicked the autocomplete button on the game design document.
Yeah, I want to disagree. As I said, I want to disagree with that statement.
I want you to disagree with that statement.
I disagree with your statement, but I don't mean it.
Yeah.
It was so upsetting. It was... Okay.
It's upsetting to me too, because I was expecting and really hoping that you would really like this game, and I would really hate this game.
I think there was a bit of bias, and we're going to have to learn from this for future podcast episodes. I had seen someone play through it recently. Not the whole thing, but I dropped in and out over the course of the evenings that my partner was playing it. I've seen enough, I knew enough about the overall story that I was a little bit biased coming in. Not biased,
Seasoned.
pre-seasoned is probably... Yeah, I think that's a good way of saying it. The cooking metaphor kind of works. And then...
I always remember to salt your video games 24 hours before cooking.
No, you salt yourself. So and this goes back to the chat about Overwatch. Anyway.
Yeah. So you pre-salted so you don't get even more salty.
Yeah. So coming into that with that sort of preconceived notions didn't work out for me. I think moving forward, I kind of want to go into games a bit more blind, or that I haven't played for a long time.
So would you say you went in with preconceived notions that made the game worse for you, or you were just more familiar with it and you didn't have that process of discovery?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have the drive because I kind of knew where some of the game points, well, some of the story points were coming from. So I didn't have that sort of, I need to know more.
I need to get to the amazing revelations of the story.
Exactly. I didn't have that story laid out that I didn't have the breadcrumbs to follow. I already had a big loaf of bread with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Metaphors.
I don't... Look, as someone who's played the game, I don't think at any point there is a loaf to follow.
No, but you don't know that until the end. Like, you can sort of go through and be like, okay, cool, I'm assembling this story, and whether or not I'm happy with the whole thing, I can't judge until it's done. But you still want to keep picking up pieces to see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's better to judge the story in its totality, although I definitely think you can get a vibe for how much you enjoy something in the process of it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start off with what we actually liked about the game.
Yeah, cool. You want to start off?
Yeah. So obviously, if everyone...
So there's a post-apocalyptic world with a bunch of primitive human tribes, and the world has full of vegetation and robot animals.
Let's use that instead.
And that's
yeah, cut mine, put yours in.
Yeah, and you play as Aloy, a girl who lives in a tribe, an isolated tribe in a snowy valley.
Not quite though, because she actually starts off as an outcast. Don't forget.
Well, I was literally, if you just fucking wait 2 seconds. I'll explain that. She's an outcast, which means, no one talks to her, and then she has to go on a when her home village gets attacked, she has to go on a magical hero's journey to find out just what the dang heck is going on. I'd say that's a good enough summary of the game. Maybe not. We're not selling the game very well, but
But that's fine. Anyway, the whole point of this essentially is that she starts off, ends up joining her tribe. Tribe gets attacked by another tribe, so it's humans and not the robot dinosaurs, which you would expect, right? Because robot dinosaurs don't seem like a great pet.
But the humans have robots with them, but they're not robot dinosaurs. They're robots.
When was the robot?
Huh?
When was the robot?
All of the main enemies you fight in the main quest are robots. They're just robots. They're not robot animals. They're robot. They're literally drones.
Yeah. Okay. The actual like converters and shit.
Yeah, robots. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Picking up what I'm putting down.
I was thinking like human butler robot. I don't know why.
Yeah. Robot mean.
And his name would be like Rudy.
Butler robot. There is a butler robot in the game. But on a generous interpretation of butler.
Okay.
In the whatever, the spoiler talk.
We don't care about spoilers. If you come into this podcast, it's a spoiler podcast.
We'll do this. We'll do the spoiler section at the end, just because we can kind of get away with doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, so what we liked about the game.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay.
This is your game.
I love the concept. I loved getting chased by a giant Tyrannosaurus made of fucking metal and fluid and capable of shredding me like a chainsaw.
Giant T-Rex is cool.
The first time I fought it was great. It felt engaging. It felt like a big accomplishment. I like the concept. I like the range of the animals, the dinosaurs. I liked how they went through a variety of them and kept it from being too stagnant by making sure there were plenty of different types. I was a big fan that as you went through the game, you killed off a certain number of them and they would eventually upgrade. So obviously they get a little bit harder to kill, a little bit more aggressive. And I did like the use of elements. So the idea that if you were fighting against a fire monster, you want to use ice type attacks, ice monster fire type attacks, that kind of thing. And the weak spots, like you would have the impact that you would go through, for example, the bellowbacks. You would hit that particular spot enough times and it would explode and it couldn't use those attacks anymore. That's fantastic.
That's a very interesting point that will be relevant for our discussion of the main story quest when we get back to it.
But that was fantastic. I really like that. And it's like, okay, your enemy can now no longer use that attack. It's still a threat, though. Or there are other situations where it would get a little bit faster because it doesn't have that plating because you use the tear attack to rip it off.
So you would say you very much enjoyed parts of the core combat quite a lot.
Parts, not the full execution.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, obviously, you're having different tribes. I think there was 4 tribes up all up.
Yes.
Yeah, because you had the Nora,
Oseram, the Banuk, and the Meridians. The Karja, and the Shadow Karja.
Oh, that's just a Pokemon XD sitting right there.
It took me a while to figure out what people actually meant by a Shadow Karja, I gotta say.
It was a bit foreign, wasn't it? But then you've also got the Banuk word DLC characters, because they're the ice characters in Icy Zone compared to the Karja who are the fire characters.
Yeah.
And I guess the Oseram were like the earth element.
This isn't Avatar.
This is Avatar.
They're just tribes of
Same
people.
way every card game is Yu-Gi-Oh! Every game must be Avatar.
They're just different tribes in different biomes.
No, but I feel like there's a traditional game cliche or tradition, if you will, to sort of go through like elemental.
I mean, I think you could argue that people definitely in like in a Western context will think about things in terms of like, 4 elements and stuff, and they might design something that way. I just don't see that really being invoked in this one.
Okay.
I think it's a case of these are the like industrialized. These are the desert people. These are the industrialized northerners who have slightly more modern technology. These are the ice tribes. These are the terrorists. These are your generic like primitive tribes and huts type people.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like their design. I don't particularly see that same theme running across them the same way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I can respect that. So yeah, I like seeing the different representations of the groups. I like seeing how they sort of had different societies put together. So obviously the Nora were quite baseline wood cabins when you went to the Karja, and they were more stone temples and much, much more advanced from the looks of them. So obviously the groups were not working together to further their own goals at any point. So that's where I got most of my enjoyment from this game.
Yeah, so you enjoyed some of the world building.
Oh, the world building was fantastic.
No, that's fair. I would say that Horizon Zero Dawn is a very good art book.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, and I'm sure you kind of get where I'm going at there.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
I love the design of the robot animals. Visually, all the different human tribes, I love their designs. I really like Aloy's design. It's just very basic design, but it looks good. Most of the visual designs look good. I really enjoyed the capital cities in the game. Meridian was really cool to look at. And there were a bunch of different vistas in the course of the main plot that looked like they were straight out of the concept art. The particular way that they look from a certain angle, the framing of it, it looks really good. So I would say in terms of anything in this game that stands out as being particularly good was everything to do with the visual design going into the game.
Yeah.
But I think maybe describing the game as a very good art book is maybe damning with faint praise a little bit.
What would you criticize about any of the designs?
Everything else.
In terms of like the landscapes, or
Oh, sorry. Do you mean visual design?
yeah, let's stick with the visual for now.
Oh no, I think visually it all looks great. I mean, maybe like there's not that particularly much stuff in motion, I guess. But at that point, like, what am I even criticizing there? You know, like.
But even like if we go past art book, for example, not to cut you off, but even like the attacks of the animals, like for example the Glinthawks, I think it was with the electric discharge and that kind of stuff. No, Stormbirds, it was that had that. All that kind of stuff was built really well, and the idea of like as you move through the combat, they lose attacks and all that kind of thing. I thought that stuff was done great. So like the not only the art book side of things visually, but I think the lore background, the mechanics of how they wanted things to function in that world, the science of that world, I think was done well.
I think, well, there's different things to touch on, and I want to say that I don't hate the game. There is definitely stuff in the core combat I like, and there's stuff in the world building I don't mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think any part of it beyond that visual design, just how things look when they're static on a page, particularly makes me, what's the word? I don't know, impassioned. You know, it does not spark joy.
Okay, the old condo treatment.
Yeah. It's just sort of okay. I think the world building's okay. I think the core combat has some nice stuff in. It doesn't quite get to the point where it's developed enough for me to say, mwah, I love this. And it has a lot of issues with some of the supporting systems with it, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, one thing I will say about the core combat is I like the range of weapons. So the multiple bows was a bit strange for me, like 2 bows, 3 bows doing the same thing. Like, it's hyper-realistic, don't get me wrong, because that is exactly how it works. But I'm like, I just need a bow. Give me multiple types of ammo, that's fine, but you don't have to separate those out into another bow class.
Not enough space on the wheel.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what frustrated me. But then having the tripcaster, where it's like, okay, this actually gives you a strategic side of things where you have to line them up to trip over that item, and same with the bombs. So you can set it up and have the big explosion go off and damage that animal that's weak to fire. That was great, but then we'll get into what we didn't like about the combat.
Yeah, core combat-wise, I kind of had an issue where if something's... The thing about games is if something's working pretty well for you in terms of strategy, you're not likely to change off of it unprompted.
Yeah.
And sort of my issue with that definitely I fell into was I found my ideal setup of 3 weapons within the first few hours of the game once I'd acquired those. And from that point on, it's just sort of, okay, well, at no point was there a need to change weapons.
Yeah.
I got on by using the top level upgraded version of the standard bow, the precision bow, and the rope caster.
Yeah.
Which that gives you everything you need, basically.
That's pretty similar to what I did. I used a lot more of the sling, though. So I used a lot of those bombs, because once you upgrade that a bit, that's not too shabby either.
That seems like a better direct damage one. I started working that in a little bit, and I used my 4th slot a bit between the tripcaster, the bomb thrower, and the magic electricity staff you get in the DLC.
Yeah.
Neither of which I found useful enough to start regularly integrating into my kit. Whereas really, all I need is, okay, so here's my high damage output bow.
Yeah.
Here's my precision weapon for higher damage stealth kills. Here's tear blast arrows that basically make the fights trivial by letting you knock off any part you need without much effort. And then if I need to crowd control, the rope caster is great.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I found myself doing most of the time, is I'd go into battle with one of two approaches.
Oh.
I would either be like, do I need to use tear? And if not, if I need to use tear, great, go ahead, start putting the tear arrows on there. And then the second step, which might be the first step if I don't need to use tear, was go into the high impact arrows.
Yeah.
And then obviously elemental damage as well, back and forth, that's fine, but obviously with
I barely used elemental damage apart from the fire arrows.
No, I did it a little bit because it was just one of those things where it made sense, and especially against the human enemies. If you get the fire arrow against someone, and even with headshots, obviously it makes it a lot easier, but it just made more sense. I also found the zoom ability was completely useless because your auto, what's the word? Not auto. I guess it is auto aim, but the correction the game makes where the arrows curve, if you're not zoomed in like that, is more accurate for headshots than you trying to line it up yourself.
Really?
Yeah. I got
Interesting.
headshots easily when I was zoomed out, and when I zoomed in and slowed down time, it was harder for me to get them.
It's funny you should mention the human enemies, because I think I found I definitely stumbled upon the dominant strategy for fighting human enemies, and I think it's a mouse-only strat. That it makes fighting any human enemy in the game trivial, because you can buy an upgrade that slows down time when you jump in the air. The thing about bows is that when you start charging a bow shot, it charges up your accuracy.
Yeah.
It does not charge your damage.
Correct.
So you can sprint up to a human enemy, and before they've had time to ready a shot or attack you at all, you just jump, aim in, scope, charge for, a moment, release. Super easy, headshot, enough to one shot, two shot, three shot any human enemy in the game.
Yeah, I definitely feel that's a mouse strat.
Yeah, that's
For a console official.
It was designed for console. I definitely acknowledge that.
But on top of that, that's not
it doesn't ruin the game for me.
But I also found with human enemies, I spent a lot of time just whacking them with the staff, because that way you just have the crowd control more easily.
I never use the staff.
No, I use it a fair bit, especially when you knock the animals down and you just go straight, because you don't want to go for the R1 instant, obviously crit, which is good, but you go for the R2 a couple of times, and then just as they're about to get up, you go for the R1.
Optimize the damage a little
Yeah, exactly, and that was pretty piss easy. But yeah, but my biggest complaint about the combat is one thing happens. You find the enemy for the first time. You have a great time fighting that enemy for the first time. If it was a boss, that would be where you'd leave it, and you'd be stoked with it. But the problem is you got into a situation where you would have to repeat that on everyday occurring enemies, and it just became a grind to see, okay, how quickly can I put 120 arrows into this thing, because I know that it takes me exactly 120 arrows.
Yep.
And what I would have preferred to have seen is a system, especially with the cauldrons, because cauldrons are these big levels where you go in, you see where the machines are being made, there's a different cauldron for like each subsection of machine, and then from there you can go, okay, cool, I beat the boss in that area, I got a handful of knowledge, and I can now override those animals, take control of them to either ride them as mounts or use them in combat. And that was great, but what I would have liked to see come out of that is, okay, I went and find the Thunderjaw, which is one of the biggest and scariest enemies in the game, I beat him in his cauldron, I now know everything about them. Instead of taking me 120 arrows, I unlocked new weak spots that didn't appear to me before. I gained new knowledge, and it goes, if you use a particular type of arrow on this weak spot, even in this order of combat, if that was the case, if you had to remove a plate and then do it or whatever, it literally goes to a critical mass situation where you go from 120 arrows down to 10. I would have loved to see something like that, because there should be an optimum way to deal with an enemy that you don't know until you discover it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. You kind of want the experience of learning how to fight an enemy to be more mechanically involved.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I definitely did get a feeling that the more difficult enemies in the game did get to a point where they felt a bit more damage spongy, even if you're fighting them in the optimal way. And I would have liked to see something more deliberate when it comes to fighting them.
Well, there is a natural evolution. There is a mechanic in the game that when you beat 10 of an animal or 20 or whatever they set the predetermined number to be, that actually does level up and get a bit more bullet spongy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's a mutation thing they call it, which I'll come back to that because I have a request for the next game or what I want to see happen. But yeah, you're right. It gets to a point where you're just like, this is just a grind.
Yeah, and once you figure out, because once you figure out, once that one NPC tells you that you can knock off guns with one tear blast arrow, the process becomes really trivial and rote. You know, you blow off the gun, blow off the gun with a tear blaster arrow off the Thunderjaw, blow off the weak point panels, tie them down with a rope caster, pick up their gun, fire into the weak point. And it feels like a system that assumes that you only have access to the main bow and makes any enemy defeatable that way.
Yeah, and I think, and that's the thing, they have to assume that you have screwed up and not got the right weapons. So this is a big thing in video games, though. I find that it's a struggle at the start. You start up under-leveled, you're a peasant, you got no muscle on you or anything like that, and you have to struggle to get up. And then you get a better weapon that makes it a bit easier. Then you find a boss that makes that weapon a little bit less effective, and you have to use it in a different way or get a different item. But by the time you get to the end of the game, no matter what, I feel like any good game should make you feel like a god if you have learned the mechanics of that game the right way. I never got that. I never had that feeling where I was like, I can take down anything in 10 seconds, I am the ultimate Beastmaster.
Yeah, you didn't feel like the game had a high level of mastery.
No, it's just a case of like, you can be as good as you can be at the game, but these enemies are still going to take that many shots to take down.
Yeah, no, I did get that kind of feeling. I'm curious to see what high level Horizon gameplay looks like. I wonder if there's anything more optimized and stuff. But yeah, it didn't feel like it had a ton of tech,
No, I mean, they're primitive nations, so it can't be. Or do you mean techniques?
Sorry, yeah, tech, like video game tech.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there definitely wasn't.
There's no Korean backdashing in the game.
No, exactly. There wasn't something...
Oh, wait, no, there is... So you can move slightly faster than a running space if you just sprint and then immediately slide along the ground and then stand up sprinting. And that was fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I heard about that. I didn't get a chance to use it because I saw
I did it constantly as soon as I figured it out.
Yeah. That's fair. I can understand why people enjoy that. It's like
it's slightly more interesting than pressing shift and running.
It's like an Ocarina of Time, how you can run a bit faster by doing particular movements and all that kind of thing. So I understand that.
People are just going to do that anyway, if they can find a way to do it in your game.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of the combat, I think we summed up pretty well what we don't like. You can cut me saying that if you want, obviously.
Yeah. I think I wish I played more of the combat challenges. Because I did kind of beeline the story, more or less, with a little bit of side content, not a lot. And it seemed like the combat challenges and the different hunting grounds had more interesting ways to fight. Yeah. In particular, one thing that required you to detach a gun from a Thunderjaw and use it to kill
that was mad.
I cats.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
That was great. Yeah. And that actually what's great about it is that requires knowledge of the mechanics and problem solving.
But that also goes back to the I am a god idea. Because in
Mastery,
Yeah. Well, in my head, it's even just thinking from a narrative standpoint, it's, okay, this is attacking me with this weapon. Fuck you, big monster. I'm going to take your own weapon and fuck other shit up with it like a complete bamf. That, to me, is like, okay, that's starting to go down the right path, which you should be finding by the end of the game. That's mad. That's exactly what you want.
In terms of spectacle?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Because a game is
I don't really care about spectacle because I'm a brainer.
But I don't play games for realism. I play them because I want to do the fucked up shit.
Well, yeah, I don't play games for realism either.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a default.
No.
And anyone who thinks it's a default is silly.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more thing to say about the core combat is that I definitely think the main quest line de-emphasizes the most interesting things about the core combat.
In what way?
Well, it primarily has you fighting human enemies, which are lame and boring and not as cool as robot dinosaurs. And on top of that, it only has you fight, or pretty much only has you fight, military robots, which are all kind of... they've got the most boring design out of anything in the game.
Shit.
And they seem to be designed in such a way where they're assuming that you might only have access to the starting bow.
Yeah.
So the only weaknesses in those enemies are just fire-based.
But then...
So it doesn't require you to change your approach or anything throughout the game.
Yeah.
And so it just has the same encounters with the same enemies over and over.
And for a game that's so gear-heavy, you don't get gear checked at all. You barely get level checked. Your level's completely health-driven.
It has fucking nothing to do with how hard the game's going.
And even skill checks are more conveniences than anything else. Like, you get some cool stuff, like obviously stealth combat and everything like that. But if you're going to bring human enemies into it, give them the override that I've discovered, that Aloy was the first one to get. Yeah, whatever. Go fuck yourself. And then let them ride the big monsters into battle.
They're going to do that in the next game.
I did not know that. I've not watched the trailer yet.
Oh, I read a wiki summary.
Okay, that's great, because that's what I want to see. If you're going to bring human enemies in, chuck us both in a Megazord, or chuck me in not a Megazord.
That's a way to make it not boring.
Yeah. And that way, don't have human... The only human interaction I want from an enemy is when the Zord is dead, and I finish them off. That's all I want.
Just make them shut the health bar. Don't make them fight.
Yeah.
The human enemy's lame. Robot dinosaur's cool.
Very the one only good human enemy was at the very end, and I've only seen someone do this, but the brute dude.
I can't even fucking remember.
Yeah, but not very memorable. What is
you mean the highest level guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I have no It's just another guy.
It's definitely frustrating to see the human enemies be so dull. But then the final boss as well.
What was the final boss? Wasn't it just a bunch of normal enemies?
Yeah, it was a hyper-strengthed up army robot you've already fought 20 times.
Yeah.
If you can't give me...
Oh, a Corruptor. Fuck, I haven't fought
Yeah.
20 billion of those before.
In a game about robot dinosaurs, give me the fucking Hydra from Greek mythology. Give me something, because this is the most wanted thing I have for the sequel. Because I'll play the sequel because I feel like I've got enough drive from the world building that I'd be willing to do that, and hopefully they clean it up a little bit. I want to see mutation. So I want to see as you progress, and I want to see this be dynamic to the player's way of approaching things. That if you hunt a bunch of the... what are the horn ones called?
The horn ones?
Towards the start, they look like deer with the big antlers.
Grazers,
Grazers.
I think.
If you spend a lot of time hunting grazers, I want to see them upgrade in a way that they now combat the way that you kill them the most, which if that was the bow, then they obviously start getting defenses against that, whether that's a casing around their weak spot or whatever. I want to see in the sequel mutation that does that, and I also want to see splicing. So I want to see if your top two most killed targets are the grazer and, say, the excavator. I want to see a hybrid between those, or I want to see something that has parts of that come in. And for them to have an end boss that would have been like a Hydra that obviously has fire, ice elements, it shoots something else that screws you up, something that deactivates your armor and makes it, like, molecularly screws it up. I would have been all over that, but your final boss just being a generic, beefed up version of an original enemy? Or already boring enemy.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything you've said in terms of, like, possible improvements to, like, the enemies and game mechanics is a fucking stupid idea, and they shouldn't do that. I just think it would be better to have more deaths. Sorry, it's for the podcast, Aaron. Come on. We went into this for the antagonism, okay? You knew what this was going to be like, all right?
It's fine. I'm looking at the lens. You can put whatever thought bubble I'm having.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah.
No. So it just needs to... The enemy interaction just needs to be more complex and more interesting. Just more emphasis amongst fighting dinosaurs. Don't give a shit about fighting humans or boring military robots.
Yeah. Or if you're going to make me fight humans, make it way more in-depth. Even change the combat system completely to something different. Like, you know when you have games that would have mini-games, where you'd have a different combat system to fight against someone, and some of those mini-games ended up being better combat than the main game? This is going back to, like, 2005 to 2009. Give me that. Like, I'd way prefer to do that.
Yeah.
Or take my enemies away. Take my weapons away. Make it fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Make it anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's also stupid, but I respect that. Moving on to something else.
Yeah, I gotta take a whiz.
Hello. Hey, a doggy. We got a doggy here. Look at doggy. Hello, doggy. Hey, you're not high enough for the... Oh, I wasn't expecting him to jump up. Oh no, don't lick my microphone. Look at this dog. Don't tell Aaron, but this is why I'm cool with Aaron, because he's got a dog. Don't lick my microphone. Let's talk about ammo. Hey Aaron, I got a question to you about ammo.
Yeah.
What does ammo crafting add to the core gameplay loop of Horizon Zero Dawn?
It's padding, but also it adds that survivability.
Oh baby, it's padding.
Yeah, it adds that survivability element. You might want to move your mic closer, by the way. You had a bit closer to you before. Look, this is a bigger discussion about open world games as a whole.
Oh yeah.
And this is also a discussion about why the development of interactive pickups, while I'm sure was very intuitive and revolutionary at the time, makes me miss when you just ran over your ammo and your character picked it up for you.
Oh god, there's so much of this game that's picking...
You're pressing B or circle very much.
Well, we'll get into resource gathering itself in just a second. What I want to say is, regardless of the resource gathering, you're in a fight. What does ammo, as a mechanic, as a system, what does that change about the game?
Look, I agree with there being a limitation on ammo. You cannot have unlimited ammo because then you'll use the best arrows to do the same thing again and again and again. And artificial difficulty is fine in that regard because there has to be a cap, and there is a realism. Yes, there's always been bullet limitations in, like, Call of Duty, for example.
Right, but does there have to be?
Yes, because otherwise the game turns into a shit show, and it's too easy.
I mean, that's the thing, though, right? There's not a whole lot of ammo that is strictly better than other ammo. Most ammo in this game has a function, and it's
Yeah.
not good outside that function.
And that's fine.
And I'll tell you this: there is a single arrow type that I could find in the game that is a strictly better upgrade over an existing ammo type. But even with ammo limitations, I only used that arrow type once I acquired it.
I don't agree with taking the cap off ammo, and I don't think you should have to. I always think there should be a reload animation, for example. Like, if you're going to use this logic, why don't you just take away the delay between shots fired? Because what does it add besides padding, right?
It means that your system requires you to line up each shot as its own discrete action in the game.
Which means that if you have an ammo limitation, you also need to manage your inventory to make sure you don't run out of that one on one enemy when you're in an area of multiple enemies.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. And you've nailed it. Hypothetically, what ammo management should add is a system of limitation and a system of inventory management, right? The issue I have with it is that is twofold. One is that when it comes to the ingredients you need to craft things, at no point in the game did I enter into a fight where I did not have enough, one of two amounts of ammo, right? One, too little to use in the fight at all, or two, so much that it could get me through 100 fights.
Yeah.
It was only ever one of those two.
But is that just confirmation bias where you only noticed it when it was like that?
At no point did I feel... there was a single fight where I ran out of ammo, and that was just because I was throwing away Tear Blast arrows like nothing, and I didn't realize that Echo Shells were actually rare. Once I realized, oh crap, I need to stop using Tear Blast arrows when it's not useful, then I never at any point had a problem with ammo limitations in the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I managed to hoard massive, massive stacks of ammo.
Yeah, and that's
fine. And I wasn't fucking being particularly conservative. Wow. Conservative.
No, conservative.
I wasn't being particularly conservative with my ammo at all.
Yeah. Look, I agree with the ammo limitation on this sheer argument that it stops the bullet time effect. Or it stops you just being like, every arrow is worth the same. It puts a value on each one. And that's fine.
I would argue that's something that the game already does by having each ammo type have its own function.
Yeah.
So, like, elemental resistance, blows off armor plates, does damage to harvest arrow, etc.
But I assume you played on normal, right? Like I did.
No, I played it on hard or very hard. I can't remember. It might have been hard.
Okay, it's interesting that hard still has that same effect. Maybe very hard, you start to see the difference where your ammo management comes in.
I wonder, because it's not like what is... So, the only ammo type I had limitations with was Tear Blast arrows, but on very hard, does it still take one arrow to knock off like a gun or a component? Because if so, I'm confident you will not have ammo problems in this game at any level.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It's one of those arguments where I think it exists because if you didn't, the game would be too easy and therefore boring.
I think, much like a lot of things in this game, it exists because, that's the sort of mechanic a game like this should have. End quote.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of that in the design of this. My opening comment, they did 25% of the game and hit autofill. That's what it feels like with all the Ubisoft open world sandbox mechanics. It doesn't have any particular unique identity beyond that small slither of core combat that we both quite like in, spirit, at least.
And that's a pretty good segue into the resource gathering argument.
Oh, no, well, it is a good segue. I haven't got to my next ammo. My next point on this. My second problem with the ammo system, which is crafting arrows.
In what way?
Well, it's not really a mechanic, is it?
Yeah, it is, because
you can craft arrows in hit stun. You can get knocked out, and while you are flying back in the air, pause the game and craft as much ammo as you want.
So you kind of want to see a Skyrim thing where you can't save while jumping, you can't craft arrows while jumping.
No, I want to see a point to crafting, because near as I can figure, the difference between the game requiring you to craft ammo and the game just automatically hoovering up resources from your inventory directly into your ammo pouch is nothing. Whatsoever.
Right.
I have never gotten into a situation where I've gone, I need to craft ammo, and it's been a difficulty. I've forgotten and had to go, I need to press tab, but it's the challenge of pressing tab. So there is no challenge in there.
You would rather see that if the game's going to make you pick up resources, that it automatically crafts your arrows for you, or gives you the option to have auto-craft or something.
I would seriously consider axing the entire resource system from this game, is my point.
No, because you have to have
See,
something.
I'll get into this. Well, do you? Do you?
This is my argument. Like,
No.
if you're going to have these big
Brainer.
white beams of light shooting out from the ground that show me where the stick is, show me where the healing herbs are, show me where the rock is, all that sort of stuff, that's fine. I will walk over to your resource and gather it. I hate that they make you pick a separate button to pick it up while you're there, despite the fact that I've already gone to the effort to walk over to it. The effort has been...
Same button as dismount horse as well.
Correct. But the effort has been consumed. It should be, okay, I ran over it, pick it up. This goes back to like the old days. Or give me an option, right, where it's like a run and gun thing. If I hold B and I'm running and I pick it up along the way, like a scooping action.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Or even just make it a press, not a hold.
Yeah.
But here's why that's kind of a small brain complaint. And that's unworthy of a brainer like myself. And that's because you're only really mitigating the issues that system causes. Because it has a bunch of really bad annoyances. But again, if we look at this entire system in the context of the game critically, it isn't really adding anything to the core combat.
But yeah, you're not wrong. But by the same logic, then it stops being a open world game and starts moving towards a on rails, here's your gun, etc.
Well, we'll get into that.
But what I want to know is, instead of the resource management and the gathering, what would you replace it with?
I have some thoughts on how I'd like to see this game structured that I will go into in a later section.
Cool.
But the short version is just cut the whole system. Just cut it.
Okay, but just
If you can think of a similar system that's better, good. But if it's not adding anything to your core gameplay loop, then all it's adding is busy work.
But so you want to see unlimited ammo. You want to see...
I would prefer to see unlimited ammo than a system that doesn't have any consequences for running out of ammo.
Okay, what about healing? Because healing, obviously, you gather herbs and they are your main source of healing items.
Healing,
besides
I'm also not crazy about, because much like crafting, you can do that shit in hit stun.
Okay, but what's your argument? Do you have a larger health bar that you're less likely to run out of? Or do you have a healing system that automatically replenishes over time that you can consume, but obviously it has a time-based reload?
I think the good model here is Dark Souls. Because it's a similar system.
We're already in the Dark Souls of Horizon Zero.
Actually, Dark Souls, I think you'll find it's the Dark Souls of video games.
Horizon Zero Dawn really is the Dark Souls of the Witcher universe.
It really is it's really the Schindler's List of gaming.
Alright, so while you're being the brainer, what's the Dark Souls model that you replenish when you get to a new area, or...?
The way the system works currently is always you have your health and you have a certain amount of healing stuff. Same as Dark Souls works, more or less. It's just that in Horizon, if you're in any state whatsoever, you just press Q or whatever the console button is, and your health healing pool starts slowly draining into your regular health pool until it fills up.
Yeah, I think it was up on the D-pad, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't care. And why that's, it doesn't really require you to make much thought. I mean, it's still a fine healing system in the sense that you have moments of vulnerability in that you want to stay safe while you're slowly healing. However, something that requires you to make more thought would be nice. So why I would suggest, say, hey, instead of pressing a button that starts all of your healing automatically, press a button to have your character root to the ground, slowly drink a health potion or whatever, and give the player an opening that enemies can exploit if the player's not managing that correctly.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's how you turn it into a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, and I think you'd have to scale the speed of that consumption with the difficulty of the game as well, though. So on easy, it'd be a very quick motion.
I would not, speaking from no experience, I would definitely say that, like, you're rebalancing animation times and punishes and stuff.
Oh, look, that's fine. I understand from a technical perspective it is a pain in the ass. But at the same time, this is a game that's not like Dark Souls. It's not designed to be hard. It's designed to be a
No, I just mean it requires healing to be a conscious thought you have to do, as opposed to just something you will always do automatically and you'll never not do. Like, if you auto-press Q, it wouldn't change the core gameplay fundamentally, unless you just... I mean, it would prevent you from forgetting to heal.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things
something
where...
you should be in danger of in a good game.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. But I'd argue that you could achieve the same result with a larger health pool and less healing, if that was the case.
But
then you take away, obviously, the danger of...
It feels a lot less
death.
dangerous,
Yeah, exactly. So you lose that urgency.
Let's talk about resources!
I mean, we kind of already have. But...
Oh, do you know how the fucking inventory management's a fucking nightmare in this game.
Yeah, so this is the thing that I've always had with games. I don't believe in a capped inventory. Because it was bad in Pokemon Gen 1, and it's bad in Horizon Zero Dawn.
In this instance, I agree.
In what instance do you think that you shouldn't... Okay, outside of an actual...
I don't know, it's pretty...
Like
capped
Rust.
inventory is pretty good mechanic in Pathologic. So I don't know about you.
Anyway, when we're talking about things that actually don't make people want to hurt
I'll
themselves...
fucking kill you. Pathologic's a great game.
I haven't.
This is why you're the gamer, okay? This is why you'll never be a brainer.
I haven't played Pathologic.
It's good. That's good. You will.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Do you want to go in on 2 first or 1?
I'd like to talk about it at the end of this podcast.
Because 1's a lot harder, but 2 is you only get kind of like at the middle third of it.
I'd like to play it at the end, talk about it at the end of the podcast, or I'll make you play Rayman Legends.
I feel like I've heard that game is fine.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for a while.
I probably wouldn't give a shit about it, but...
No. It's definitely one of those things. Resource management in this game is an absolute nightmare, frankly, because, as I said before, I don't want to have to run up and loot, and I think when the gaming industry brought that in, which I think was around the same time as Assassin's Creed 2, it was almost like a revolutionary piece that they were... I'll let you do that first.
No, keep going.
No, because it'll ricochet and picks up.
Oh god, what were we talking about? System picking up things. You know what's fun?
Yeah.
Running out of inventory space.
Yeah, I don't agree with the cap, frankly.
In this case, hate it.
Even in Dark Souls, I never actually use the full inventory, so I don't really see the point of a cap in general.
You got an inventory. You got an equipment load in Dark Souls. You don't have an item load.
I thought you had an item cap, and that's why they...
That's in Demon Souls.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and it's a fucking awful mechanic in that too.
I'm thinking of Demon Souls.
Yeah, Demon Souls, sorry.
Yeah. But, yeah, the whole problem with resource management as a whole with your inventory is like, okay, we can give you all these treasure items which are worth currency. I cannot for the life of me remember what game it was, but there was a game where it literally said, hey, you found this cool thing. I'm like, sick! And it's like, we automatically sold it for you because that's all you can do with this in this game anyway. I'm like...
Yeah, it's great.
Sick.
Dishonored did that.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was Dishonored, thank you. Whereas compared to being like, oh, but what if you die? What if you lose it? You don't lose it in this game. There is no logical reason to holding on to it. The only exception is things like lenses that you can obviously use in crafting or sell.
Yeah.
That's the only time it makes sense.
I did find it kind of annoying how... Well, it's good that they identify the vendor-only items that you can only sell. I did not appreciate how there's no auto-sell for those.
Yeah.
And what I really don't appreciate is the thing that happened a lot in this game, where I would go and I would run out of resource space, which you need constantly just to pick up, like, sticks for arrows, which you just go through all the time.
Which you just have, like, 8 bundles at one point.
And so it's like, okay, so I'm going to clear inventory space. So I have, an inventory of 20 spaces, and 4 of those are dedicated to different ammo types, and the remaining 16 are all different green and blue level items from loot, and I have no fucking idea what any of them are for.
Yeah, well, most of them are for crafting new items.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The fucked thing is these are all random drop items, and some of them you will definitely want.
Yeah.
And a lot of them you won't give a shit about.
But also on top of that, there's no home base that you could drop your items off at. So if your inventory got full, like if they added that, it would have been. I still would have mitigated agreed with it, but it would have been way less of a problem.
No, the entire gameplay situation of trying to figure out what you need to chuck from your inventory sucks because it's stressful as fuck, and you are not given any viable information to make an informed decision.
I mean, pretty much by the time you get to the Great Wall thing, where you've got the first encounter with the Karja when they let you through that border into the rest of the lands. At that point, I'm pretty sure the vendors have everything that you can ever buy. So you can see ahead of time what you need.
Yeah.
But you have to actually track that. And I remember spending time on like Glinthawks and the Shell Walkers, just farming them because I'm like, I just want to knock this out. Because I ended up with like purple weapons before I even left that area.
Yeah,
which I feel like is the wrong way to do this game.
I went for purple ones first because it feels bad buying something you know it's going to be redundant down the line.
It's almost like they should have spaced that out. Like, put that on the outer rims of the maps. Make the purple items only available from vendors out in those special locations.
I felt better knowing that I wasn't wasting money by, like... I didn't want to get into the situation. I liked that all the weapons were available from the start because it meant, cool, I know I don't have to buy a shitty bow and waste my money. I can just save up for a good one. Even though, really, you should just buy the blue tier because they're so much cheaper than the purple tier.
Yeah, I mean, it's the law of diminishing returns. essentially from the green when you're starting down the bottom, it's a high rise to the blue and then a slower curve to the purple in terms of quality versus expense, right?
Yeah, and the expense just goes up exponentially.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you spend so much time going through it. And even just shards that are something that's supposed to be so plentiful because you're using those
Yeah,
for
the
your
main
arrows.
currency in this game is shards, mate.
Imagine if you just took your dollar
Shards,
bills.
mate.
Your bow shaft was made of your dollar bills.
That
essentially,
one,
is what
no,
this game
that's a
is.
cool mechanic. It's
What,
just
money
that,
as ammo.
yeah,
Ah,
it's just
I
that
hate
it like was not emphasized to the point where you felt it at any point in this game. Just
Yeah, they never actually said that you were spending your dollars.
well,
no, one outright said
they
it.
say it. It's just that you never notice it, and it never feels like you're spending money. It's
Yeah.
not like Metro, where like you fire a bullet and it feels like you just fired something valuable and
just
spent.
put a gold bullion into a bazooka and threw it at the enemy.
That's what you do in Metro.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand that.
That was a great mechanic in Metro.
Yeah, but I know it's artificial padding to have the weapons spaced out throughout a game, but I kind of prefer that. Like, I would rather these purple weapons be something special that are made by a blind monk at the top of the Tibetan realm.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'd
They
rather
don't.
it be
They definitely don't feel
specialised.
special.
No, it just feels like I got a purple weapon and nothing exceeds it.
I really would have preferred that they doled you out the weapons through the game, and then they could make the assumption that you had access to certain parts of the kit when it comes to fights.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, it does feel like every game in this game could be fought by just plinking them with little shitty arrows.
Yeah, but in the same vein, right? The armors. There's 3 types of armors per civilization. They all do something different, and they're all so expensive.
They're so expensive.
It's
yeah.
such a hard.
And they don't really
game.
help that much.
No, look, I'll say they do. Like especially the Ostrom armor that protects against electricity. When I was fighting against the Storm Bird, yeah, it was a no-brainer.
So I take it you didn't get the secret power armor.
No, because I didn't. Spoiler: I didn't finish this game because I've seen enough of it to know when I was done.
You really didn't miss anything, let me tell
Yeah,
you.
the secret power armor. It was kind of just does everything, right?
No, it gives you a... Well, it's an interesting mechanic because it gives you a shield. Like a regenerating shield.
Right. So it's Halo.
Yeah, and I think it's great because it definitely specifically smooths over the difficulty. Because it
Yeah.
means you can take a bad shot now and again, and it doesn't mean you're constantly chewing through resources.
But if you take another one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I would honestly wouldn't mind the shield mechanic in the game by default.
I think it's very. And in the sequel, they can probably do that because
Yeah.
they can use the argument that Aloy's discovered the technology and now she can weave it into all her armors.
Go for it, honestly.
But doing that from a storytelling perspective from the start would be very difficult, considering it's all primitive, savage nations and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, whatever. They've got fucking rocket launchers.
No,
you can
dude.
justify anything.
Look, I agree, but I'm one of those people that I'm like, if it doesn't make sense within the narrative of the story, I'm going to get real pissy.
I think you can come up with whatever justification you fucking want. You know, like it just you can come up with a explanation for something.
Yeah, but a wizard did it is not the right explanation.
Right, but it's not hard to think of a better explanation than a wizard did it. And
Sorry,
half the shit in this game is a wizard did it. It's
Sorry,
a techno wizard did it.
a dinosaur
AI
wizard did it.
from the year 2060 does not work like that.
A dinosaur wizard did it, you're right.
Yeah, no, a magic computer ghost did it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
literally, I got infected with a virus that turned all my modules sentient.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be mad at a villain that's kind of just bits of code, not gonna lie.
Or even, bits of code written by like a blah, I'm evil man.
But he wasn't even evil, man. He was just a dummy.
Are we talking about let's save this for the story.
I didn't see him
section.
as like an antagonist. Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Hades as an antagonist? You didn't see Hades as the antagonist?
Hades was the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see the programmer. I saw him as incompetent.
No. What?
The guy that she was arguing with, we'll get to it.
No, he's not relevant.
But anyway, this style of resource management, I feel like has been around for about 10, 12 years now, right? And I feel like it started...
What, just picking up shit?
picking up shit. And
It's been around for a bit longer than that, I
yeah,
think.
the first place... Well, no, because you just ran over it back then. The first place that I noticed where it was like, oh, you actively have to pick things up from your enemies was like the Assassin's Creed series seemed to normalize it to a great extent. Far Cry, not long after. And it just became the go-to where it's like, okay, you killed this animal and there was an animation that played out.
And you gotta loot it, so it feels more like you're actually
Yeah.
looting it.
It's like you couldn't do that during the animation?
Yeah, because I guess the benefit is that, hey, it feels more like you're actually looting something than just hoovering up stuff that you wouldn't notice.
But again,
the
like-
downside is it makes the game fucking boring.
Yeah, but again, Dishonored did it right in that if you killed someone, fair enough, it wouldn't loot them automatically. But it was a single button press, it was quick, it was instant, there was no mucking around. And if you picked that character up to move their body somewhere else at any point, it automatically looted them for you because it's like, while I'm here. it's not adding extra busy work. And that's why we'll talk about this on another time, because I've got huge positive feelings for most of that franchise.
It's a game I wish was slightly better than it was.
Another podcast. But yeah, it's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, it's this pointless busy work. It's frustrating. It's
If you like
too
immersive
long.
sims, there's this little independent Russian game called Pathologic. It's quite good. It's many of the same design tropes in that genre. It's quite good. I've heard it's a very good game. It's very good. Hey, it's me, it's your boy. I'm the brainer.
But yeah, it's one of those situations where it's the industry needs to let it go. It's done. Like, the types of
I don't think the industry needs to let it go. I think pumping out this fucking generic template-ass video game seems to have done pretty well for them financially.
Yeah, look, that's a bigger argument. I'm not going to get down the path of what's profitable.
Consider the gamer to brainer bell curve, Everyone falls in the bell curve of gamer to brainer in the target audience. And what you'll find is if you just shoot for gamer, then it's a big audience,
I can't wait for the next episode when the brainer gamer bit is slowly dying. Probably not dead yet, but getting there.
Oh, it'll never die. It'll never die.
As
long as you get upset by it, Aaron, it will never die.
That's a good point. But yeah, it's one of those situations that isn't going to change anytime soon because it's a template that's proven to make money. It's bad. It doesn't work amazingly well for the player, and it just adds padding that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the majority of target audiences the industry looks at as you're a one game per 3 month interval kind of person. You buy an average of 4 games per year. You're selective on the one because of budget or time or whatever constraint. Whereas the majority, this is a bad way of saying this. I feel like the amount of people that play games to the extent that they are to be enjoyed to the full 60 hours are the types of people that are going to have the big criticisms about those micromanagement points that are wasting their time.
You mean people who play a game more are going to be more familiar with its downsides and its annoying points?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like, it's going to annoy people that... Okay, if you spend 20 hours on a game, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the smaller parts aren't going to bother you as much because you didn't invest as much time. But if you love the game so much...
You're going to get really familiar with it, and that means you're really familiar with the criticisms and points of frustration.
Which means your guaranteed return audience has a lower chance of coming back, I feel, because of those frustrations.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think people fucking are like, oh, we need to make a video game. How do you make a video game? It's like, well, this is the modern template for making a video game that you don't have to think about.
There is a lot of that. There's definitely
then this game
tested, tried and tested problem, which I'm not into.
I mean, I really dislike familiarity in. I don't hate it. I tend to prefer the unfamiliar when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, I'm just so burnt out on the open world formula of here's a map, we're going to put as much as we can. We don't want to see anything.
I'm burnt out on it. I've played, including this, 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's got, like when it first came out, revolutionary. It's what you wanted because you got the most bang for your buck in a game because it kept you going the longest. But now because it's so saturated in the market, it's like I don't want to just clear out this map for the reward of having a clean map.
Yeah, the bang for your buck thing is where it gets me. Where it's like we got to justify X amount of hours, whereas I am someone who wants everything to be tight and self-contained and efficiently paced.
Oh no, I'm one of those people that firmly believes that $1 per hour of gameplay.
I think you fuck you. That's
why so?
Okay.
Why so?
Look, it could be better if it's shorter. Like you.
Correct.
If you have enough mechanics that you can dole them out at a good pace for 10 hours, and that's a nice complete thing. Like, imagine if we were talking about Ratchet and Clank earlier today.
Yeah.
Imagine if whatever Ratchet and Clank game you've played that you like. Imagine if the game was 3 times as long and had the same amount of gameplay mechanics, weapons, enemies, etc.
It depends because there's a balance between just adding more and then adding new stuff or expanding the story out and all that kind
Right,
of stuff.
but my point is that if you extrude the length, length itself is not a desirable trait.
But hear me out here, right? I don't mean that the first playthrough of that game should take you 50 hours. I just think that if you pay $50 for a game, your total playtime, however you play it, should be 50 hours or more. And that's fine.
I think that's insane.
But the logic here, right? And let's use Ratchet and Clank.
Logic.
You can play it once, it'll take you about 20 hours, right? You can play it maybe twice, it'll take you 15, up to 35.
Oh, damn, this is shit value.
Not really.
It's not even $50 hours yet.
Yeah, I know, but it depends how you get out of it. If game is good enough to warrant replaying, then obviously it's worth its value, right?
Sure, but what I'm kind of getting at is there are certain experiences that are short and do not necessarily lend them particularly well to replaying over other games that are still good.
That's fine, but
to
I'm not,
have.
But I'm not going to pay $70 for a 50. I'm not going to pay $70 for a 5-hour game. I think that's crazy. You cannot expect an audience to pay that.
I agree with not expecting an audience to pay that in terms of like market reality. I just think that like obviously there's a point at which it becomes a hard sell in terms of amount of content. I'm saying that like if it was the best game I'd ever played, 5 hours for $70, yeah, easy, would do that.
Yeah, but what's the odds that's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
I mean,
yeah.
I prefer my games to be shorter because I just want to play them and finish them and have a complete experience and then put them down.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a bell curve. There's an optimum.
Dead
time.
Space is like 10 hours.
Yeah, I still need to go through those. That's one that I'll play off the podcast, I think. 'Cause
Yeah,
just
no,
for recreation.
that's fine.
But no, look, I
you want the
agree.
short version of my Dead Space 1 podcast?
No, I'm going clean because I started playing Dead Space years ago and never finished it.
That's
so-
okay. It's a one-sentence podcast.
I-
It's a really spicy take. It'll be good for the views.
Okay, we have to cut that part out, sure.
Okay, well, the Dead Space 1, it's no Resident Evil 4. That's my entire opinion on that game.
Have not played Resident Evil 4 either.
It's
so-
good. Don't play it before Dead Space.
Yeah, okay. That's
They're fine games. I played the first two and I liked them.
yeah.
So they're fine.
Let's smash out.
It's no Resident Evil 4 though.
Let's smash out story, or the lack thereof.
Well, I want to get into. Have we done open world already?
yeah, I think we've been on it for too long.
Well, I want to say. The question I want to ask is: does this game justify its open world structure? And to my mind, there are two ways you could do that. And one is whether the open world structure brings anything new to the core gameplay loop. Whether it introduces any positive elements, and two is navigating the world interesting or fun. No to both.
This is hard because there are elements like the tall necks used as your scouting options that are
The what?
great. The tall necks are the Brachiosaurus looking ones.
Oh, sorry, tall neck.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There
It's just a Ubisoft tower.
yeah, correct. It's an Assassin's Creed tower. And it works. It's an interesting take on a tower in an open world game.
Interesting's doing a lot of work there.
Yeah, moving.
It
I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, it's moving.
I personally like it from the world building aspect.
How so?
Just the world building aspect. It's there. These are how we navigate our areas between the machines. You have to climb this moving target. It's not from a gameplay perspective whatsoever. It is only from the idea of the world building.
Okay,
that I like it.
I guess I can pretend to respect that.
I mean, the brain is a cunt. We know this.
Yeah, exactly. You need to bring the antagonism more. I feel like I'm beating up a child here.
A little bit, but it's the first episode. Give me some time.
Okay,
the rage you'll build.
We'll get your teeth growing in soon, my boy.
I mean, eventually the podcast is going to come to a point where it's just me beating a bearded man for a while, and then
Yeah, we're going to come to blows at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
exactly. We've
It's
got
gonna be
nothing to worry
fucking
about.
awesome.
Do I think that the game could work if it was similar to The Last of Us, where you were just pushed into a new area? And I know The Last of Us is controversial. Let's not go there. But you just got pushed into a new area. You got given your new weapons as you came along them. Upon that, you got given new enemies to take down. And this goes back to my argument about the Thunderjaw being something that you only have to fight once, make it really fucking hard to beat, and then that's it. You don't have to do this bullet spongy crap anymore. Yes. I like the idea of moving that game to more of a... It's not hallway based, I guess. It's like exploratory hallway game.
Can I offer an alternative that I think is slightly better structured?
You can try.
I
I'll think you'll be fucking wrong, but you know.
I think I'll nail it on the head. Something that I have played a little bit of, not the entire game unfortunately, is Monster Hunter World. And I think that has a great structure that would fit perfectly for this type of game.
You mean like limited open world?
Well, in brief, Monster Hunter World allows you... It has a number of very small sandbox sections. And the idea is you drop into one of these sandboxes with a given mission and a given set of ammo and resources. And you just have the goal of go in this section and fight this one enemy or do this one thing. And I think that semi-linear way of designing it would be a lot more conducive to making the core gameplay loop more interesting and more emphasized. Monster hunts would be the core part of the game, and ammo would actually be relevant because it would allow the possibility of designing the game in such a way where a player can come in with enough ammo where they can get the job done, but it's still an issue.
And that way you can obviously scale the difficulties and the amount of ammo as well. And beyond that, you've also got the option of not having to worry about resource management.
Sure, but the point is that you could... Well, the point is this,
Actually,
that
what
you
about
start worrying about resource management, because now it's gone from a mechanic that's never relevant to a mechanic that you can actually plan around and is a challenge.
So you could... ideally, you design this in a way that you're given all the tools that you would need to complete the job if you did it right. But if you fuck up, there are limited resource reloading opportunities throughout the level, as gathering, whatever it might be in crafting. And then if you run out of those as well, you're a moron and we bonk you in the head with a big stick.
Yeah, and you restart the level. That's something like that. It would be good.
I'm going to get real upset. And you are going to have to bring a big bottle. You've had to do this now. This is not optional. You need to bring a huge bottle of whatever alcohol I choose. Because I'm going to need it to get past what I'm about to say next.
I'm genuinely on the edge of my seat.
I think you're right.
Okay. Oh,
and I think you've actually got the formula this game requires.
There we go.
And it makes me so angry that I think we might just have to cut here and not record ever again.
Square Enix, hire this man.
Don't hire him. He'll do it for a chocolate bar.
I am the brainer.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's the exact combination, and it's
I won this episode.
You kind of did, and I hate you for it.
It's okay. I was really hoping you'd like this game, so it would just be 2 hours of me screaming at you.
Yeah, that's again. I'm not gonna bring my partner in here. She doesn't need that kind of stress in her
We
life.
should do that as a bit.
No, I'm gonna leave her the hell alone.
What if it's just like coming like oh, so you like Horizon? Why is that?
You can get her.
Can you explain yourself?
You can get her at the sequel.
Okay.
You can get her at Forbidden West or Horizon 1 Dusk or whatever they're calling it.
I don't want to do the sequel to this game on the podcast, but
Oh look, this is literally the month where I don't want to do anything, so I make Sarah do my job for me.
Oh, true. Yeah, just put the Sarah in the cage,
and then Sarah will realize that his friends are all fuckheads.
Yeah, Sarah, your opinion on video games are bad, and I hate you.
But yeah, so it's one of those situations where I'm going to admit you're right, and I think that is the formula they should roll with.
I think we've gotten to the end of this section quite well. I just am really disappointed I didn't get a chance to compare Horizon Zero Dawn to Death Stranding.
Again, Death Stranding is another game that I've watched Sarah play a lot of. She played way more games than me when I was at uni, because she had the time, and I didn't, obviously. So I just lived vicariously.
Ah, so you were the brainer.
I have a lot of opinions about tertiary education in Australia, and they are not... We're not doing that today.
Yeah.
That's another can of worms. Like, a lot of opinions. All negative. Mostly negative.
It's those damn feminisms degree.
Yeah, we're cutting that. Just comes straight onto the cutting floor.
It's cool. It's funny, because if I just leave that in there, it implies that's what your opinion is.
Look, I think that is the format. I think you're right. And it kind of expands on what I was saying with limited open world and kind of refines it to a really nice point. It does take care of a lot of the resource management. And then with the humans, as I said, just chuck them in big Zords like Power Rangers and I'm fucking stoked on life.
Yeah, there you go.
It better be a big bowl of alcohol next month, I swear to God. I'm going to be so trashed by the end of that podcast.
Oh yeah, we're gonna want to get into the beers when we talk about the next game. I'm going to talk about the DLC, because I played the DLC.
Okay, I did not.
And you didn't even finish the main game.
Dude, it got like 80%. I got everything I needed out of that game.
Oh, yeah, no, I got to the end of... Give me a second here. I need to think of a movie with a twist. Okay. Yeah, I got 70% of the way through The Sixth Sense, and it was just kind of boring. And I was like, I dropped it.
That's fine. Bruce Willis just went happily back to his career as a news reporter, right?
Is he a news reporter in that? I thought he was a...
I know the twist for The Sixth Sense. I haven't watched The Sixth Sense.
Neither I
don't plan on it.
I think he's a psychologist.
He's something.
He's like a child speaker.
Child
whisperer, that's it.
No, he's a child psychologist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, child whisperer.
Pediatric psychologist.
Child whisperer, yes.
Stop trying to say he's a pedophile.
That's not what... Alright. We'll go with that then.
Bruce Willis calls up. Why are you slandering me in your podcast?
Don't you tell him about my child touching.
See, I found the line, right? I crossed the line. There's no doubt about that. You doubled back. You went past the line fucking decided that when you were well and truly out of sight, you would double back and just kick him the dick a couple of times for good
Lines
measure.
exist to be crossed. You cling to your pathetic lines like a mewling child, whereas I stride boldly across, breaking through frontier after frontier. No line around me will remain uncrossed.
You violated the line.
I've fucked that line.
Yeah. The DLC.
There was no human enemies in the main quest, which is nice. They leaned a bit too much on obstacle courses, which we didn't get into, but climbing isn't really a mechanic in this game. And the higher resistance enemies are a good concept that should encourage diversity of weapon use, but I didn't really find it bad enough to change my loadout whatsoever.
Okay, I think I can sum up the climbing in this game pretty quickly. If you played any Assassin's Creed game, and you're not colorblind to the point you can't recognize the color yellow, you'll be fine in this game.
I think you're being a little bit too generous to this game, because Assassin's Creed required you to figure out what the next area to climb up was, whereas this is just you hold up, and then if you can't hold up anymore, you look to see if Aloy is stretching a hand up, and if she is, you press spacebar. And you have to do that a lot less than you'd think.
That's essentially what I said, because guess where the hand is pointing to? It's 9 times out of 10 is a yellow marker. And that's... the climbing in this game... I can't think of one positive point that I did want to make earlier. And this... Actually... No, this is good for the story. This is fine. This goes into the story. No, so the yellow marker. That's... Okay, I get that you want to make it clear where you're going, but Assassin's Creed 1, I think, probably did climbing the best. Ugh, hot take. Because it made it hard. You had to look for those...
I think Spider-Man 2 did climbing the best myself.
I could talk a whole podcast about Spider-Man games. Let's not do this. But yeah, it's one of those situations where it was kind of put on autopilot, wasn't it?
Yeah. I did appreciate the visual design in the sense that my game was running like absolute shit. Like I could not see anything. And I was still able to 99.9% of the time identify what area I had to climb up. So that's good.
I mean, I know you're intellectually challenged. You try turning the monitor on?
I mean, you don't understand how bad my game... Look, so, this was fun for me, because I don't, care about graphics, because I'm not, like, a fucking child.
Oh, man,
it's polygon. Oh, I need to just put John Jangle McKees in front... Oh!
My 12 hertz monitor seems to be keeping up pretty well this time.
Hey, I'll have you know I got my 144 hertz hand-me-down from Colin.
Look, I've got 60 hertz. I'm not going to throw stones. I'm just going to live my life and not antagonize.
You don't need it. I'd never notice it. Yeah, the DLC was okay. If you didn't like the main quest, if you didn't like the game, it's not enough to save it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. I can understand that argument. Story.
I guess this is the spoiler section, but there's nothing to the story.
But the story's pretty mild, to be honest.
Sorry, quick sidebar, right? And I want to share with you a quote from the Horizon Zero Dawn wiki, because it made me want to die.
That's fair.
Both the names Aloy and Rost may well be referenced to common phrases like alloy and rust, seeing as metal is an important theme in the game.
That's deep, man.
Metal is an important theme in the game.
That's really cutting right down to the core.
That makes me physically angry.
I don't think I can continue with this podcast. I need some time.
You're doing it as a joke. I'm doing it not as a joke. It makes me sick. Oh, metal's an important theme. What the fuck do you think a theme is?
Yeah. It's not a theme. What's the word?
I mean, you could argue it's a motif, but even that is a bit much. Like, there's robots. It's like saying spaceships are a motif in Star Wars.
Yeah. There's a word that means motif, and it's longer, but it means smaller motif, and I can't remember what it is.
Is it leitmotif? Because that's not what that means.
No. I cannot remember the word for the life of me.
Look, I wish you said leitmotif. That'd be good.
That's exactly what happened.
No, they only start hunting humans 15 years before the story starts.
Correct, because the humans were hunting them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the humans couldn't actually leave the robots to do their job alone.
Yeah.
The robots couldn't repopulate the Earth.
Yeah.
So the virus turned around and said, humans go bye-bye so I can repopulate
it's
the
not
Earth.
the virus...
Sorry, rehabilitate the Earth.
It's Hephaestus becomes sentient for no reason.
Correct.
Before Gaia blows up.
And because Gaia's not there, which is the protector of the humans.
Which is a robot ghost.
Yeah.
Not an AI. Because it's not how AI works.
This story's dumb.
And it's not particularly interesting.
I think it had potential, like everything in this game. This game is
Everything has potential.
No.
My Sonic the Hedgehog fan comic from when I was in primary school had potential.
Okay, Furry, that's fine, but we're not here to talk about your kinks. Essentially, this game,
au contraire, Aaron.
This game is a case study of something that could have been great and was squandered. It was never a bad idea to start with. It was a piss poor execution.
Oh, I just feel like the game feels like the entire game was based on the art book. Someone made a really good art book and some really great concept art, and they had no interesting ideas past that point.
It's like a book that gets turned into a movie, and it's like, oh, the book was better.
Everything I like about this game, you could sum up in screenshots.
Yeah. GIF screenshots, but yeah.
No, screenshots.
Yeah.
The animation's not bad, but it's not...
Like I said, I like some of the world building, where it turns around and says, okay, like the integration of what the machines can do until they're damaged.
I have a nitpick. I don't really have anything bad to say about the world building other than nitpicks. Although I don't like how it's based off of... Well, there's two things I don't like about it. One, I don't like how it's basically like modern day technology plus, weird future technology a robot dreamed up with. I don't like how all of the old world stuff is basically just like humanity as it is now. I think it's kind of boring.
So you think they should have made more technological advancements to be found?
It should have been further in the future, because the apocalypse happens in the 2060s.
In 2060, and a lot's going to happen in 40 years.
Well, fuck all's going to happen in 40 years compared to, like, robot dinosaurs. We're not going to get...
Oh, okay. We're not going with that.
We're not going to get, like, hovercraft... We're still going to have tanks in 2060, which
but they might be hover tanks.
Well, they're not in Horizon.
Yeah, exactly. So all we had to do was make the iPhone 57 appear and make a hover tank, and you would have been happy.
Here's why I say I think this is a nitpick and a personal preference. I would have preferred... I think it's more interesting to play... I might cut this. I would have liked to see it played more like a roadside picnic thing, where it's more the incomprehensible hyper-technology of the past, as opposed to something that very, very, very easily fits in a box of our current...
No, look, I completely respect that, and it was definitely scaled back to fit and make it relative to the person playing it at the time of its release. I agree with you. I think it would have been a very small amount of work to turn around and make the next development of technology. Even if you went the real simple stuff, you would predict and go bionics, right? And do prosthetics, the like machine arms that function as normal arms. And not with the limitation of just a claw, it's a fully functioning dexterous hand. Little things like that where you're like, okay, we know that technology is coming in the next 20 to 30 years. That would have been such a small detail for them to include that would have really enhanced it.
I mean, even just like the technology doesn't feel very magical in a sense, and this feels like the sort of setting where you'd want to do that. But
sliding doors
again,
all about those sliding doors.
It is a preference of mine, not something I would consider to be legitimate criticism.
I think in terms of like if we went just to the narrative argument, I think that's something that is low effort that would have made a big difference.
Here's a way of summing it up. It feels too sci-fi rather than fantasy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, everyone knows what a machine is as a concept, and they're just kind of like, yeah, it's a machine.
Yeah,
it's a robot.
But also, for the sake of argument, everyone in this game is going to be speaking English, because that's how we're going to be interpreting it, because we're playing as Aloy, who understands what they're saying. So in a world-building thing, even though all these tribes probably speak different languages, for the sake of argument, they're all speaking that universal translation.
I mean,
like Galactic Basic in Star Wars.
I can honestly believe that it makes sense they speak the same language. Obviously, you'd probably want to see more like dialectical shift.
Yeah,
but
because there wasn't like they all accent work, was there?
Well, they all came out. There was what accent work was there on display was not great.
No,
they all kind of came out of the same, English speaking womb facility, so it makes sense everyone would speak English because I don't know.
But yeah, to sum it up, we'll move on from the story.
The plot doesn't have anything going on, really.
Look, again, it had glimmers of things going on that never were fully realised. And again, it's my motto for this game. It's where I'm going to sit.
Cool robot.
Cool robot, go brr. There's my sum up.
That's a good sum up. Let's talk about Aloy.
I think... Aloy is a flawed protagonist, which is good, because you don't want the perfect shiny teeth protagonist. I don't think she's irritating, which is fine.
Okay.
She's quite diplomatical. Diplomatical.
Diplomatical.
To the point that's unbelievable based on her upbringing, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Because she had no one to argue with besides the authority figure in her life. So, I really don't know how we got such a well-rounded character based on the lore we were provided with.
Yeah. Now, you say she's a flawed character.
Based on the choices you make.
I would say she's a character... in the sense that that she's doesn't really... All right, here's a fun little game I want to play. You ever seen the Red Letter Media Plinkett reviews of Star Wars?
No.
All right, so here's a fun little question you might not have heard. Describe Aloy. Right, this is something I'm taking from them, but it's a good old one to do. Describe Aloy without saying what they look like, what kind of costume they wore, or what their profession or role in the game is.
You might have to correct me on the rules here as we go through it. But
Okay, no, it's cool. I'll catch you if you mess up.
I might be using this word wrong, but no, I'm not going to use it then. Righteous, loner, with big drive to save people that she has no right to be compassionate with based on her upbringing.
I would argue that some of those are not present in her character, and other of those apply to every character in video games, pretty much.
Do you mean every protagonist ever?
Every generic protagonist.
Because
I think
it has to be there to make
I
them
think
likable.
she's an extremely generic protagonist that is one of the designed people that you could just project literally anything you want onto them.
I think if it wasn't for the drive of her seeing that image of the woman who looks like her, which obviously was the person she was cloned from, she wouldn't do fuck all. Because she just wants to know what that's about. That's her entire reason for taking these missions on.
I guess more what I'm getting at is that she doesn't really have any, personality. Like, even the things that you would expect to affect her personality, like her being an outcast, don't affect it whatsoever.
Yeah, she's not much of an asshole, which you kind of wanted to see.
Yeah, well, like anything, she doesn't feel like a real character with her own opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
She really does fit, again, a complete blank slate that you can project whatever you want onto.
Yeah, which is, again, that's a bigger question for video game culture as a whole. But also, super willing to help, all things considered. You never say no to anyone.
I mean, she's a video game character.
Yeah, give me the option to say no to a quest, and I don't have to have it in my inventory forever.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a fucking design thing. You should be able to say no.
Because what if you just went through and just like, oh, please, you need to help me. My mother's up on the ridge, and it's going to take her 20 minutes to get down instead of 3 minutes because she hurt her ankle a little bit. If I can say no, because I'm like, dude, I'm on a bigger quest here. There's a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex over there eating your cousin, and you're not worried about that? If I can say no to that to prioritize other shit, then obviously that character gets a bit more depth automatically. And it's a gameplay plus, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's more down to a design decision, but
But I think it's fair to say that the personality is definitely an imprint sort of expectation.
Yeah, and like she doesn't really have any... It feels like she doesn't have any personality that the player can't project onto her. Like, let me give you an example, right? Aloy constantly says voice lines that are contextually appropriate to whatever situation she's in, whatever action she's doing, like sliding, moving around in a particular biome, whatever. That'll just come up randomly. And I don't think any of those provided any sort of characterization.
No. It would have been nice to see her own opinion on things like, I hate the cold, or I hate the hot, little things like that.
Here's a fantastic example, right? Aloy has voice lines in the desert environment where she's like, it's hot. Oh, feel my skin burning. She has voice lines in snowy environments. It's like, the whole world's gone white. It's like, I can see my breath. In the DLC, she has voice lines for even how colder it is, about how, I feel like my face is going numb. And she has, a different set of voice lines to communicate the fact that it's really cold. Aloy grew up in the snow.
Yeah.
So surely at some point she should have some kind of opinion that's influenced on that. Like, surely she should be either, like, more resistant to snowy environments and used to them, or just is genuinely baffled by the feeling of heat from a desert.
Yeah.
Like, surely there should be some opinion on there, other than communicating what the action or location they are currently is.
Even something simple like never had to deal with this over the years. Like, little touches like that go a long way, but I don't think it adds to the character. I just think it adds to their backstory, which is fine.
Well, I mean, it's an opinion on something, It's some amount of personality.
Yeah, I would like if you went into... the way I'd probably like to see it done more is if you go and deal with someone who's obviously a dick, which there are a few of those characters going throughout, like the generals that you meet at the gates and that kind of stuff. And as you're walking off, probably about 60 seconds later, be like, thank fuck I'm away from that dickhead. Something simple like, okay, an actual opinion about someone, like she's not tolerant of
just a consistent personality trait at all.
I desperately need to pee. I've been holding it.
Yeah, go for it. I want to touch on Ted Farrow.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on that character. I had a section on Lance Hendricks' character.
Yeah.
But there's not much to say. He's he likes knowledge, but he's kind of a dick.
Oh, is that the black guy?
Hello, Eloy. I want you to go over to the computer and download the files.
Yeah. The manipulator who at the end took the virus.
Yeah, well,
To set up the sequel.
Yeah, he took Hades. Okay, so I have some I have some thing in my notes for Silence, and it's a real shame that I didn't record the context for this that prompted this, because I think this is a great quote. Or this
Silence being the character that sort of guides Aloy through the ruins and knows way more than he should.
Yeah, well, I just want to write something I wrote down about Silence in my notes that I quite liked, which I can't remember the context for, was Silence has some big love is just chemicals in your brain energy.
Oh, full Agent Smith. Yeah.
Well, no, more like what? Why would you enjoy another person's company? You must advance your agenda with them, Aloy.
So we can
Mutual self-interest require us to communicate and pool our resources, Aloy. Let's talk about Ted Farrow.
Yeah.
Ted Farrow is what I like to call a load-bearing character.
Do you mean that there was a blame that needed to be placed for the incident rather than having it be an accident?
No, I mean, much like a load-bearing wall in a building that kind of, it's a wall, but it supports the entire building. If you knock down the building, the wall, then the building's going to collapse, right? If you knock off Ted Farrow and you remove him from the plot, then the plot doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, if we go full weeb here, it's kind of like how if Obito and Kakashi and Naruto never went on that mission, the entirety of the Naruto plot would never have happened.
Sure. I guess.
Fuck's sake. At least no basic weeb culture.
I'm not watching Naruto. Go fuck yourself.
I am at episode 120 at the moment.
I went back to watch Dragon Ball Z the other year for the first time since I was a child, and that show sucks.
So do you know the episodes of Naruto, the original one, are 220 before the time skip? Now, what episode do you think the battle with Sasuke happens where Sasuke leaves the village and that's it? The time skip should happen from there.
Oh, as in the pre-filler period?
Correct.
How many episodes did you say?
There's 220 in total. So what episode do you think that Sasuke departs and Kakashi takes Naruto back to the village?
190?
135.
Oh boy, that's almost half.
40% of the original Naruto series is fucking filler.
I don't know why people like anime.
Look, big shonens like that with a lot of filler I get. It's very hard to sort of justify loving all of it. The overarching plot, yeah, sure, I can see it being amazing.
I talk shit. I watched JoJo. JoJo wildly swings between being great and being fucking awful.
I mean, did you watch the Bounty arc in Bleach?
No. I didn't watch Bleach.
That's how you know.
I don't fucking watch Bleach.
If someone watched the Bounty arc in Bleach, that's how you know they're really okay with fillers, because that was something else. And they put one core, main big good thing that happens, which is Rukia getting her powers back during that arc. So if you miss it, you kind of feel like you missed something, but not enough. It's so infuriating. The fact they weaved it into the main plot was just unnecessary and hurtful.
Anime was a mistake. So Ted Farrow, he causes the apocalypse because he's a greedy businessman and he makes robots that eat people, right?
Social commentary!
Yeah!
Yeah, I'm not into it either.
Yeah.
I'm
into social commentary. I'm not into social commentary on this fucking basic bitch level.
Yeah.
Here's my point, though, right? The problem is not that he caused the apocalypse by that, because that's a fine premise, we made self-replicating robots and... blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
but he could have just been, a normal dude.
Well, my issue with him isn't that he caused the apocalypse by making robots, is that he caused the apocalypse twice, and the reason he caused the second apocalypse it just comes out of nowhere.
Because he's a dick.
He just turns into an Anprim for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says, we got to delete all knowledge, right? Let me tell you a little story, because I saw that. I saw an audio log in the game. And he's like, I don't know about this whole, knowledge thing. And then 2 seconds later in the game, you see a video file of him, deleting all of the knowledge from pre-humanity, so nobody knows anything about robots and stuff. And I thought that came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, no, I got up to that and it definitely felt like a bit of a left field type of effect.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I read a comment online that was like, "Oh, I hate Ted Farrow. He's a dick. He deleted all the knowledge because he didn't want humanity to find out that he was the cause of the apocalypse." Yeah. And I went, "Oh, that explains it. I guess I just must have missed an audio log somewhere." So I checked the wiki.
There's no audio log?
There is no audio log. I didn't miss the wiki. If that plot point is the intended reading, there's nothing in the story to imply it, and I'm pretty sure, based on previous plot points, they covered up that it was his fault. So it really does seem like the intended reading, rather, is that he just decided to do it because, I don't know, it's knowledge bad, I guess.
Yeah, this is one of those... You know how you kind of come across shows that people are in love with, but there's one glaring fault that they just hate, so they just override it and say, no, this is the headcanon.
Last episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, another conversation for another day. But people just turn around and say, you know what? This is the headcanon, this is how we as a community accept it, and then no matter what the original writing was, no matter if the creator turns around and says, no, this is what I meant, they're like, nope, it's our one. I kind of feel like this is one of those situations where the big stands of this game turn around and say, no, this is how it actually happened. I know they did that.
I've come up with a not stupid version of the game in my brain.
Yeah, exactly. And it just becomes community accepted. And I feel like that's fine. I'm willing to let people have that.
I mean...
But yeah,
I'm not!
Yeah, but you're a braino. No one likes you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And you had no friends.
I don't even like me.
It's through primary school and high school. It must have been hell for you.
Oh, yeah. No, I got just the beaten.
Really? Wow.
Daily.
I was going to hope it was just verbal abuse, but you're such a cunt that you actually got physically...
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I really should have been stopped long before now, honestly. I deserved it.
Someone should have just got the trank dart and... took you out to the woods and let you survive for yourself.
Yeah, release me into the wilds to get eaten by a wild, I don't know, cat.
You know why I don't think you do well in the woods? Because not only are you mad about having to walk over to the resource, but you're also mad about having to put effort in picking up the resource.
Oh, I would have thought I'd do bad because I'm fat and have no survival skills. It's good to know it's my opinion on gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, right. You won this argument with that one line. I'll give you that. You get eaten by a bear, but you still won.
Brainer always wins, baby.
It's pretty good. Yeah, no, look, Ted Farrow is a character that did something bad because it was a poor choice, which isn't the most realistic thing of all. Don't some of us just make mistakes, not because there's a reason to it, just because it was a bad choice.
He did a bad thing that caused the end of the world, and then he did a second bad thing that caused the end of the world for no reason. Look,
I know for a fact, I know a person, and I won't name them because this is a whole thing. They ate at a servo and got food poisoning from that servo, from that item. They got really sick. So a few months later, they went back to that servo.
Isn't it?
This is not a story.
Okay, I've just assumed.
It would check out. This is a story about a person who went to the servo again 3 months later, ordered again from that servo, already being like, hot food from this servo is a bit of a risk. Ordered the same thing, and got the same sickness.
Wow.
Twice.
You got food poisoning twice from the same thing?
It was not me.
Oh, okay.
This was legitimately a friend, and I don't say that as like I had a friend of a friend. But yeah.
Fucking, of course.
Yeah, yep. And they may not have worked at that servo. So that says it all!
I think that's
People make dumb choices, and Ted Farrow ordered the same shitty thing from the same shitty place twice.
Well, he ordered the shitty thing. It would be more analogous if he ordered the thing from a servo, got food poisoning, and then said, you know what, I'm going to start driving with the fuel cap off in my car.
Contextually, I can gather that analogous just means real dumb fuck move, based on the context of that sentence, but you might need to elaborate for me.
You know,
it's not a word I've heard
analogous.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason in my head it was EN, and I was like, I have no idea what this is, but as soon as you change it yeah.
Okay, no, you're thinking of an angleness, which is when things have lots of jagged edges.
Oh, like the Egyptians. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, for some reason changing one letter completely took away any context I could have gathered. That sucks.
Let's talk about loot boxes. There's a ton of loot boxes in this game. And I think that's fucking awful.
Because I kind of
There's a shitload.
Are they randomized?
Yeah, they're randomized completely. And there's loot boxes in the game.
I kind of, you know how in Dark Souls you get like a big soul and it just holds all your little souls?
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was just a container, just to reduce your inventory space.
Random drops.
I had no idea those were randomized.
Got to increase.
I mean, I suppose how do you can't set items.
You got to increase your fucking sales somehow, right?
There's no microtransactions.
Yeah, there's loot boxes in the game.
Oh, we're talking about two things. You know the caches, which have little items inside them?
Yeah.
Oh, so you buy more of those?
Yeah.
I just found
them. It's got loot boxes in the game.
But you can find them naturally as well, right?
I fucking guess you can find them naturally.
Yeah, because I did.
It's still a paid system.
Yeah, right. I had no idea this game had microtransactions. I just thought it was a standalone single-player game. They couldn't just do skins?
I can't believe you'd like a game with this amount of microtransactions in it.
I did sit here saying I don't like this game.
I think the fact that you're going to bat for this game for having microtransactions.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I didn't expect a single-player game with a closed-end campaign to have microtransactions in it and no skins. If there were skins, I'd be like, oh, you know what? All right, I kind of get it.
All right. Well, I was trying to do a bit, but I don't think it landed the way I wanted it to.
You fucked me. Are there actually microtransactions?
No. Sorry, I was trying to do a bit, and I wasn't expecting you to agree. I wasn't expecting you to cave and agree with me. I'm sorry.
I kind of just accepted it.
That's fine. That's
just because I didn't see something doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah. No, I get that.
We have to leave all this in.
Yeah.
Too long didn't read. Matt's a cunt.
Well, yeah, that's the TLDR of the podcast, baby.
You're bleeping the C-bombs, right?
We haven't said cunt at all. And I'm not bleeping the us saying cunt, okay? That's a bitch move.
Ew, it'd be better if it was like, you're a meanie, and you bleep the meanie, but then people don't know what meanie is because it's behind the bleep. There's no way around this.
Oh, I just had a beep.
I just want to just check the battery on that.
On your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should go to conclusions now, I think.
Yeah.
I think we've set it up.
If it's 15%, we're fine.
Well, it's just conked out. It's got a black screen now.
Oh. We actually did?
Fuck, we might be.
Okay, that happens.
Alright, well, hopefully it saved the video file.
That should be fine.
I guess we'll be doing just me for this sum up, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
Aaron, stop picking your nose.
Yeah, camera died, so we're going to have to just focus on that, and I'm really sorry about that, because it's just fucking grotesque.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Don't worry, I don't.
Get your microphone back.
Oh, yeah.
You're fucking... Don't...
No, that's fair,
That's alright.
Anyway, the camera died, so you gotta look at Matt's fucked up excuse for a face for a while.
There's a reason I'm the brainer.
Anyway, we should wrap this up.
Well, okay, so...
So, okay, how do we want to do this? We're going to do a score, a recommended audience.
I feel like let's go through, like, where we recommend this game, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you want to take the first crack at this?
So let's narrow this down. There are parts we like and parts we obviously dislike quite a lot.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is there is definitely an audience for this game. And I think the defining quality is going to be based on every problem that we had. The stuff that pads this game out and makes it longer also lets you experience the game over a greater period of time. So I think this game is suited to people who only buy a single-player experience game that they play through maybe once every 3 months.
I think if you're the sort of person that is okay with making the game slightly worse to extend the gameplay out a few hours, I think you're fucking mental.
Yeah,
but that's really neither here nor there.
Look, that's fine, but let's face it.
I think you have to be a real idiot to like this game, am I right, fellas?
Look, I can see why people enjoy it.
You have to be a real moron to enjoy this video game.
The camera's over there, you're pointing to the wrong thing. There you go. But yeah, it's one of those situations where I think, like, if you only play one game, a few games a year in total, then yeah, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And you have to be really invested in the game itself. If you love the world building, you will put up with the shortcomings to experience more of it.
I'll agree with that. If this seems like a game that you think you could carry you through the world building, then you're probably in the audience that would enjoy it. What I would say is, if you're looking for a sort of game that's an open world sandboxy game that you want to kill time in, then I can think of a bunch of different games that do better things than this that I would recommend over this that are more interesting.
Yeah, I can't deny that.
My sample size for similar games is extremely small, but I've finished 2 games semi-recently and touched another one that I think I would recommend over this one.
Look,
so
I think this kind of falls into the Witcher 3 kind of category in that it's trying...
You should mention that.
In that it's trying to be that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I booted up The Witcher 3 on stream because I've heard it's a very good game.
Yeah, another game Sarah played and absolutely adored.
RPG. Yeah, my brother loves that game. Yeah. I've been meaning to play it, but it's 70 hours long. And I played through literally just up to the first town and did one side quest. That side quest required me to go to a character, learn about them, get some backstory, head to a location, figure out a puzzle involving a haunting with a ghost, investigate the area, pick up an item, then figure out another puzzle with the game's mechanics by cross-referencing the bestiary and learning the lore of the monster, and then I had to fight the monster with a specific constraint in the battle that I had to do if I wanted to deal damage.
Yeah.
Now, none of that shit is...
You're right, The Witcher is D&D on steroids.
None of that shit is particularly fucking amazing or revolutionary, but that was several solid tiers of quality above even the best, air quotes, quest in Horizon.
It's not that they're unique things, it's that they've been woven together in a way that works extremely well.
Yeah, you're getting more meat out of the mechanics
Yeah.
in terms of the side quests. It's not just go here and fight an enemy, it actually makes sense in the context of the world, and there's a little bit of story and a little bit of gameplay mechanics that is actually interesting for you to experience and puzzle out yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like that side quest wasn't this amazing, grandiose thing, but it was better than the best of Horizon, and that was the first side quest in the game.
So I think what this really boils down to is if you've not already played The Witcher 3 and you're looking for more Witcher 3, this will give you like a small itch to scratch. Scratch.
I don't know if I would go that far, because The Witcher 3 seems like it has a competently written story, and that is not something I would describe.
This is
for
literally
Horizon.
like getting Coke Zero instead of a normal Coke. It's the equivalent of. I know you
As
like
a-
Coke Zero. You're fucking wrong.
Even
You are a guest in this house.
My preferences aside, I think that's a fucking stupid way of summing it up, and I think you're an idiot.
That's nice. But
Here's the lens I want to view this through, right? Is would I recommend this to anyone 10 years in the future?
no.
No. Exactly.
Yeah, The Witcher 3, yes, because
Yeah,
it's going to
maybe.
hold up as a gameplay mechanic teacher.
Yeah, and if I think about equivalent open world games that I could think of, the closest I can think of games that I've played, apart from The Witcher 3, is Breath of the Wild and Death Stranding.
Yeah, okay.
Breath of the Wild is a game that gets a lot of use out of a full sandbox of mechanics, and
Yeah,
it seems to actually
absolutely.
justify its use as its choice of being an open world
But also
game.
its biomes are much more interesting as well.
Yeah, and Death Stranding is attempting to do something actually unique with its core gameplay loop that no other game is doing.
Correct. Death Stranding is an innovation.
Yeah.
Horizon is the combination of everything that's been proven to work really well in a really bad attempt.
Yep,
Well, I wouldn't say really bad, in a not great attempt.
25% of a game design document, and then they hit autofill.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're saying is either play The Witcher 3 instead of this, or use this to kind of scratch the itch if you're missing Witcher 3, but it's not going to hit the spot. It's not going to hit the mark.
Maybe consider taking the 20 or so hours you'd invest into going through the main quest of Horizon and use it to maybe think about your life and your sort of direction, where you're going. Maybe create a list of goals, short-term, long-term. Think about where you are in life,
You're right, they should just play Pokemon instead.
Yeah, sure. You do literally anything.
Or learn
else.
Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a great
Yeah,
game.
okay.
TCG, everyone needs a trading card game in their life. Because everyone has too much money.
Yeah, get into live service and gacha games.
The IRL loot boxes. Anyway,
I think that sums up.
I think that's Horizon Zero Dawn done.
All right. Well, I was really hoping you'd like that game more.
Yeah, me too. But next week,
Next week,
it's Matt's turn. And Matt, what have you
Yes.
put on the board?
I have put on Killer 7 for next time.
Which was originally a GameCube game?
GameCube and PS2.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we can get this on Steam, right?
Yeah, it has a Steam port. Up-resed resolution, mouse support if you
Okay.
want to play through the game on easy mode.
Alright, so obviously it's a first-person shooter then, is it?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It's.
I don't like
You
the
could
expression
certainly
you've got.
describe Killer 7 as kind of a first-person shooter, yes.
Okay, so it's going to be one of those ones I'm just going to have to start playing and immediately shoot you angry messages.
Yes! That's why I want you to... I'm 50-50 on this, because I want you to go in affected by needing to put on, the stream performance, but also I really want to see your initial reaction to booting up that game.
I might record it if you're lucky.
Okay. If I'm lucky, I'll take what I can get. How many stars would you rate Horizon Zero Dawn?
Well, your username on Twitch is no half stars, right? So we're going to go on a 1 to 10 scale so we don't have to worry about that nonsense. Yeah. Look,
I can't separate more than 5 level categories of quality in my head.
yeah, but dividing them in 2 you can.
This is your way of tricking half stars in, isn't it?
What are you talking about? I don't understand. There's
I know
only
your
4 stars.
fucking game, okay? And I don't like playing games, alright?
Oh, what's the
fucking-
point of this whole podcast? then?
Fucking... Oh, right, yeah, good point.
Look, I'm
I
just,
hate video games!
getting down to the meat of it, I'm going to probably turn around and put this dead on a 5, in the sense that I think you say 25% then autofill. I think it got halfway to where it needed to be, and then really boned the other half.
I mean... yeah, sorry. Okay. No, it's all good. You're misinterpreting what I'm saying, but it's not relevant, so I'm not going to touch on
Exactly, it's not relevant. So this is the point where I say my 5, and then you tell me why I'm a fucking idiot.
I was going to do a star rating. I've keyed around. I've played around with the idea of star rating systems and what I would actually base it on. I like the idea of going with the IGN score -5. So a 1 star is like a game that's like fine, and you play through it, and it's like, okay, that was entertaining. Like, it means not awful. Like 0 stars is the game is bad and I wouldn't recommend it, and 1 star is you can use it to kill some of the time between when you're born and when you die.
That's an interesting way of doing things. I rate 5 as in it was tolerable, and my 1 as in why the fuck am I doing this? This is actually painful.
1 out of 5, and I go down to 0 because all the bad games get lumped into the same 0.
So if you're going 1 out of 5, that's a 2 out of 10.
Really more of a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
If we're being generous.
Okay, so we got a 5 and a 6, which is surprising. I kind of thought I'd be a higher number than you.
Well, I feel like the issue is we've got different rating systems, and, you know, I'm innovating.
Ah. You're braining.
I'm braining.
Fucking degenerate.
Thanks for listening to the Gamer and the Brainer podcast, guys.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll leave our notes down the bottom. Actually, how do I want to do this?
Leave our notes? What? We're not gonna... We don't need to upload our notes.
No. You got... stream. You've got stream notes.
The
Show notes is what they're called. It just contains links.
Have you got anything you can plug? You want to plug anything?
Fuck yeah, I do. I've got the amazing Twitch channel Blazer Kage, or Blazy Cage, as everyone likes to keep saying it in every chat ever.
Blazer Cage.
Blazy Cage, or Blazer Kage. At Twitch and YouTube. There are no videos on YouTube at the moment, but they are coming. So if you feel like getting on board as an early adopter, you're a moron.
And when do you stream?
That camera's off. I don't know what I'm pointing at.
When do you stream?
I stream 3 times a week, usually Monday, Tuesday, Friday, but that is prone to changes.
Wait, you stream Tuesday now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Zelda Tuesdays.
Okay,
At the moment.
Well, I guess
what about yourself, Matt? Considering you don't believe in half stars, I think I can guess what your Twitch username is.
You can check me out on, well, presumably this channel, I guess, youtube.com/nohalfstars. Hit the subscribe button or I'll kill you. And you can check me out on twitch.tv/nohalfstars. I stream Tuesday night, Australian Western Standard Time. So I guess I'll be competing with Aaron for my 1 slot.
Did you not see the chat the other night?
I didn't.
Where I was just like jumping on Matt's hype train and also streaming.
Oh, okay.
So then Dan put a poll up of who streamed it better, Matt or Matt.
Oh, I didn't realize that was what that was referring to.
I assume so.
Yeah. I think, it'll be funny to see who we can, how petty we can get in terms of who we can get to the stream. Give us a natural reason to make the stream entertaining.
I don't know, man. I actually get people in my stream that don't know me. I don't rely on pity to fucking get success in life.
What's that like?
It's kind of weird, honestly. It's a feeling that I never had to really worry about before, but now that I'm actually got 26 followers and I'm so much bigger than the big brain, it's, well, what can I say? I don't need Viagra pills anymore.
Look, we always knew, all of you and me and all our friends knew that you were going to be the successful one and I was going to be the good one. That was the plan from day one.
You were going to go like Van Gogh. You were going to be appreciated outside your own times. You were just going to die a fucking loser.
Exactly, yeah. Die a loser and leave fucking amazing art that's better than anything anyone will ever produce in the future.
You know what? If I get to have all the money while I'm alive and I get looked back on as being terrible, I'm not against it.
Hey, that's fine. I think we can agree to disagree on that one. Agree. You know what? Agree to agree on that one.
See, the camera can't see me, so you can pretend you're shaking my...
That's good. I don't need to touch your sweaty hands.
That was the worst hand job I've had in my life. But look, all I'm saying is if
there's a reason they call me the brainer and not the...
Because brainer means... Hand blowjob.
No, they call me the brainer because you think that means blowjob as opposed to the hander.
And you know what's great? If I cut you off now and just say, thanks for watching, guys. All our links are down in the show notes. Cut. You can't do anything about it.
Cut it. Print it.